At the end of the Ice Age, I accumulated tens of billions of supplies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Surrender. Fatty Zoo's simple and honest appearance gave Zhang Yi an inexplicably familiar feeling. There have been people like this around him in the past. He is not good at socializing, and he grew up in a relatively ordinary environment, so he has a low self-esteem since he was a child. When I grew up, I couldn't make many friends because of my poor communication skills. So when you meet someone who treats him a little better, you can feel your heart out. As a result, after being deceived by what he thought was a friend, he began to doubt reality and then immersed himself in the two-dimensional world. This feature is extremely obvious on Fatty Zoo, especially with his excessive empathy ability. He was able to think about the problem from the perspective of Zhang Yi, who killed 100 of them in Zudong village. Seeing Fatty Zoo like this, Zhang Yi's killing intent towards him eased a lot. However, he was not completely relieved, but deliberately said, "You are generous enough. There must be your relatives among the people I killed this time. You don't want to avenge them?" Zhang Yi stared at Fatty Zoo's face. As long as there is any strange expression on his face, he may attack. Let him be disabled first. However, the sudden change of face he was waiting for did not come. Fatty Zoo just lowered his eyes and said a little sadly, "My parents both died not long after the snow disaster. My dad had a heart attack. He had a heart attack on the first day when the temperature dropped sharply. As a result, the snow was too heavy. We couldn't send him to the hospital, and we couldn't find an ambulance. He died at home. And my mother was relatively weak and died of illness in bed a week later." Apologetic expression appeared on Fatty Zoo's face. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tell you these things. After all, there is nothing to be happy about these things. I'm sorry if it affects your mood." He smiled honestly, with a slightly embarrassed expression on his face. Zhang Yi was silent for a moment, then asked again, "What about the rest of your family? Don't all the people in Zujia village belong to the same family? People from a family? Well, that's right." Fatty Zoo's expression was a little dazed, as if he felt that there was nothing wrong with this statement, but he seemed a little puzzled. "Although I belong to the same family, no one in my family has ever looked up to me. Probably in their eyes, I'm a waste who only knows how to play computer at home." Fatty Zoo scratched his head with a smile. "Look, they have treated me like this. How much affection do I still have for them? So, I didn't hate you because you killed people in Zhejiang. On the contrary, I admire you. You are so handsome when you are driving a car and chasing us with a sniper rifle." When Fatty Zoo said this, his eyes were shining when he looked at Zhang Yi. In his dreams, he hopes that he can be such a handsome hero for once. Let everyone in the village worship him and stop treating him as a dead fat house and trash. Zhang Yi stared at Fatty Zoo for a long time. Fatty Zoo was also extremely nervous, because from the beginning to the end, he didn't know much about Zhang Yi's ability, and he could only guess that it was about space. But one thing is for sure, Zhang Yi's ability can completely restrain him. So with the current distance between the two, if they really fought, he would have no chance of winning. After a full minute, Zhang Yi said slowly, "Okay, since you came here to ask for peace, then I will give you a chance. I have no interest in your village, and those muggles can't have much influence on me. But you are very interesting, and for your sake, I can let Zudong village go." Zhang Yi knows how to deal with people like Fatty Zoo very well. He is timid and cowardly, with a sensitive heart. As long as you give him some affirmation, he will treat you wholeheartedly. Therefore, gentleness is needed, not strong coercion. Sure enough, when Fatty Zoo heard this, his heart immediately became excited. For his sake? Doesn't this mean that he has been approved by Zhang Yi? It is a great honor for Zhang Yi to be recognized by such a powerful person. "Thank you," Fatty Zoo said emotionally. "Don't worry, I have other requirements." Zhang Yi continued, "From now on, I need you to obey my orders. You must not resist any of my requests." Zhang Yi still hopes to have a subordinate with powerful license no abilities. since killing him and the people in Zhudankan does not allow Zhang Yi to gain direct benefits, it is better to sell favors to Fatty Zhu and take him under his command. When Fatty Zhu heard this request, he hesitated a little. Any request? This general concept obviously worried him a little. What if Zhang Yi gets his asside one day? Zhang Yi also saw his worry and curled his lips. I won't let you die. Fatty Zhu was left behind so that he could be a useful helper when encountering difficult enemies one day in the future. Seeing Zhu Fatty's hesitation, Zhang Yi thought for a while and took out his trump card. The fat house of the two stinging monkeys should have no resistance to this thing. Zhang Yi stretched out his hand, took out something from the huge warehouse in the different space, and handed it over. Follow me, and I won't treat you badly. Fatty Zhu raised his head when he heard the words. His eyes couldn't move away immediately, and his fat body trembled with excitement. Anime Rie. What Zhang Yi took out was an unopened Anime Rie figure. The 2024 limited edition. Only 50 copies will be sold worldwide, and the price on the internet has been raised to 2.5 Chinese dollars, and there is no market for the price. For an old house like Fatty Zhu, this is simply the most desired treasure. Fatty Zhu looked at Zhang Yi in disbelief, then pointed to himself. Is this for me? Zhang Yi nodded. I still have a lot of things like this in my hand. And there are some rare and good things of the generation level. As long as you hang out with me in the future, I promise you will have enough things like figurines, pillows, and game cassettes. What kind of people should be treated with what kind of means? For example, Fatty Zhu, it may not work if you give him other things, but this thing will definitely make him unable to walk. Fatty Zhu rushed over with a row wow, hugged the precious Anime Rie figurine in his arms, and stared at it with fiery eyes. Zhang Yi, so you are also a two-thorn ape. Then do you like Ellie? Fatty Zhu looked at Zhang Yi expectantly. Zhang Yi was silent for a moment, then slowly shook his head. I'm not a child anymore. Fatty Zhu's face froze, and he lowered his head sadly. That's right. Zhang Yi smiled disdainfully. Only a junior otaku, like you would like her. In my heart, Ren Nan Aces Yides. The light that had dimmed in Fatty Zhu's eyes brightened up again. That's the smell of finding an organization. Chapter 202 The Best Tool Man. In this way, Zhang Yi and Zhu Chunlei, the fat man, somehow became partners. Zhang Yi has a natural affection for Fatty Zhu because this harmless little fat man is easy to deal with at first glance. Getting along with people who have no intentions will always give people a sense of solidity, just like raising kittens and puppies. Of course, when Zhang Yi accepted him as his younger brother, the most important thing he valued was his ice and snow ability. When he grows up in the future, he will definitely be a good support for Zhang Yi's subordinates. But what about Fatty Zhu? As an adult male, liking two-dimensional but not being understood by those around him has always been a pain in his heart. I didn't expect to meet such a like-minded person like Zhang Yi, and I would be very affectionate to him immediately. Zhang Yi, let's add a WeChat account. From now on, we can often discuss two-dimensional content. He leaned over meanly. I have a good resource of 100T in my hand. Many of them are limited edition notebooks bought from Neon Country, which cannot be seen in China. Zhang Yi's expression was a little distorted. Actually, I have a woman. Fatty Zhu's face froze suddenly, and then he said with some resentment, three-dimensional women are not interesting. Zhang Yi said ruthlessly, actually, you just said that because no woman likes you in the third dimension? Fatty Zhu's face turned pale instantly. He took several steps back and looked at Zhang Yi in horror. How did you guess this? Why did you say it? And it's not that I'm not liked by anyone. HMPH, right now there's a beautiful girl chasing me crazily. I'm just considering whether to agree or not. Fatty Zhu had a stubborn expression on his face. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. Oh, really? He didn't believe it at all. But since you're here, do me a favor. A good idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Fatty Zhu blinked. What can I help you with? Come with me and you'll understand. Zhang Yi took out the snowmobile. Fatty Zhu was envious of this ability to pick things out of the air, and he admired Zhang Yi even more in his heart. Time is not enough, space is king. Brother Zhang, your ability is unique even in the whole world. Zhang Yi opened the car door and sat in, and asked a little curiously, "Where do you get these theories?" One set of one set. Fatty Zhu chuckled. "Research in our two-dimensional circle. Haha." Zhang Yi sneered disapprovingly. "Time is not out, space is king." Zhang Yi inexplicably thought of one thing, his own business. At the beginning, when he was on the verge of death, he returned to before the end of the world. This is a kind of time travel. Could it be that I still have abilities in this area that haven't been developed yet? Zhang Yi has always been skeptical about this matter. The reason why I can be reborn, that is, to reverse time and space, may be related to the awakened ability. But until now, he has not found any signs of related abilities. Regardless of these, my ability is just in its infancy. Maybe in the future, I will have a higher level of discovery if I use my ability more proficiently and transparently. Fatty Zhu got into the co-pilot excitedly, and after putting on his seatbelt, he looked left and right curiously. "I haven't been in a car for a long time. The last time I went to see my dad in the hospital was 2 years ago." Zhang Yi glanced at him. "Why, don't you usually go out?" Fatty Zhu said disapprovingly, "If my mother hadn't forced me to go downstairs for activities every day, I wouldn't even bother to go out." Zhang Yi nodded. "Oh, it turned out that your mother did it." Fatty Zhu also nodded and confirmed, "Well, it's my mother's." As the two chatted, Fatty Zhu gradually realized that there was something wrong with the topic. Why do you feel like you've been scolded?" Zhang Yi suppressed a smile, started the car and drove towards the distance. "Brother Zhang, where are we going?" "Take you to find something good." Zhang Yi went to a large gas station 10 kilometers away. The shelter needs to consume too much energy, and his current reserves can only last for about 5 years. Out of prudent considerations, Zhang Yi plans to hoard some more. However, if he does it himself, he can only use an excavator to dig, which is a waste of time. So all along, he has not been in a hurry to do it. And after getting Fatty Zhu, a toolman of the ice and snow department, the first thing he thought of was to use his ability to dig out materials under the heavy snow. The two stopped on a field of white snow. Zhang Yi looked at the surrounding buildings, confirmed that the location was correct, and then said to Fatty Zhu, "Help me clear this piece of snow." Fatty Zhu didn't know what Zhang Yi was going to do, but now that he recognized Zhang Yi as his eldest brother, he would naturally do it honestly. He walked up to Zhang Yi and stretched out his hands to point at the snow. Then his eyes glowed with an ice blue light. Zhang Yi felt a familiar wave of power emerge from his body. That feeling, just like when he used the precision shooting skill. Soon, the snow in front of him shook violently. The snowfall in the past few days has already compacted the thick snow layer, which is comparable to solid ice. At this time, it shattered and made a dull sound. Puff, puff, crack. Cracks appeared on the snow, as dense as spider webs. Then large pieces of broken ice and snow floated into the air, and then were thrown to the sides. Zhang Yi has been observing Fatty Zhu from the side. Although Fatty Zhu surrendered and became his subordinate now, Zhang Yi still had to figure out his skills. Still the same sentence, the heart of defense is indispensable. Fatty Zhu's expression was very relaxed at first, but as more and more snow drifts were cleared, it gradually became difficult. 5 minutes later, he cleared a large pit of more than 10 meters in front of him, revealing the gas station buried deep in it. Cool. Fatty Zhu withdrew his abilities and suddenly knelt down on the ground, panting heavily. "Brother Zhang, do you think this is okay?" Fatty Zhu asked Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi nodded. On the surface, the cloud was calm, but in fact, he was ecstatic in his heart. With Fatty Zhu as a top tool man, it will be too easy for him to obtain resources in the future. He took out 2 chocolate bars and handed them to Fatty Zhu. "Eat something to replenish your energy." When Fatty Zhu saw that it was a chocolate bar, his eyes lit up. This is his favorite food, but he hasn't eaten it for a long time. "Thank you, Brother Zhang." Fatty Zhu took the chocolate bar, tore open the packaging bag, and stuffed it into his mouth. The rich aroma of cocoa butter melted in his mouth, and he was about to cry with happiness. On the other hand, Zhang Yi slid down along the edge of the learning pit, collecting all the oil stored in the underground oil depot of the gas station. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203. You are really a little genius. This time Zhang Yi got fuel for several years. He climbed up from the snow pit. When Fatty Zhu saw him, he immediately asked, "Is it done?" Zhang Yi nodded. "Not bad." This sentence not only said that the fuel collection was very smooth, but also praised Fatty Zhu. Without his help, this matter could not have been done so easily. Fatty Zhu suddenly became happy, clapped his hands and said, "That's really great. Brother Zhang, you are amazing." Fatty Zhu admired it sincerely, but it made Zhang Yi feel a little embarrassed. In fact, for Zhang Yi, it is nothing more than using a different space to directly put away the oil tank. Fatty Zhu did the main job, but Fatty Zhu didn't think so. He thinks that clearing the snow is very simple and can be done by manpower. However, such a large amount of oil cannot be realized if it is only carried by manpower. Zhang Yi asked, "Didn't you guys think about digging for supplies before?" When Fatty Zhu heard this, he let out a long and helpless sigh. "Why didn't you think about it? But it's freezing cold, and we can't get too far away from the village. Even if there are sled dogs, aren't our sled dogs here the kind that live in the cold environment in the north? Let them go out for too long, and the body can't handle it. So we are digging some supermarkets, grain depots, etc. around Zujia town. But these are enough for us, so there is no need to go further." Zhang Yi looked at Fatty Zhu with a smile. The more he looked at this guy, the more he liked him. This is a top tool man. This problem is not a problem for me. You can follow me well in the future, and I can't treat you badly. A sly look flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes, and he deliberately said, "I can give you a can of the diesel and gasoline I got this time." When Fatty Zhu heard this, he was quite happy at first. But after thinking about it carefully, a bitter face suddenly appeared. "Brother Zhang, I accept your wish. But you really gave me a can of gasoline, and I don't have the ability to transport it back." Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. "Hey, that's how it is. That's really a pity. I, Zhang Yi, are not the kind of person who would treat my brother badly. There is really nothing I can do about it. Well, I'll give you something else as compensation." After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he took out a mountaineering bag from the different space. Yes, it was the one he gave Zhu Heo before. It's stuffed full of food. He handed the hiking bag to Fatty Zhu. "There's some food in it. I'll treat it as a reward for you." Fatty Zhu's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly took the mountaineering bag over. Because it was too heavy, he almost couldn't hold it. Fatty Zhu opened the zipper and took a look. Good guy. He was so happy to see it. There are good things inside, and the food is also produced by big brand manufacturers, many of which are high-calorie foods such as chocolate, chicken legs, and butter bread. Unlike the supermarkets in their village, which are basically products produced by small workshops, they are not at the same level at all. Brother Zhang. Fatty Zhu's eyes were moist. Since his parents passed away, it was the first time he met someone who treated him so well. Aren't these things too much? Fatty Zhu was a little cautious. He felt that he did not help much, but just cleared the snow, and Zhang Yi did the main work. I, Zhang Yi, have always treated the people around me like this. You only need to follow me from now on, and I guarantee that you will eat well and drink well, and you will have no worries about food and clothing. Zhang Yi patted Fatty Zhu on the shoulder and said with a smile. The light in Fatty Zhu's eyes became firm. He has already regarded Zhang Yi as Bull in his heart, someone who understands his value. Well, Brother Zhang, I will definitely work hard with you in the future. Zhang Yixin said. Two thorny apes are really satisfying. After getting the necessary supplies, Zhang Yi drove back with Fatty Zhu. On the way, he asked Fatty Zhu about his ability awakening. But when this was mentioned, Fatty Zhu's face suddenly turned pale, as if it was something unspeakable. Zhang Yi frowned slightly, feeling that something must be weird. But he needed a lot of samples about other people, so he continued to ask. Fatty Zhu had no choice but to falter and speak out. After my mother left, I didn't want to live anymore. But I didn't dare to commit suicide, so I just lay on the bed, hoping to starve myself to death. This wish is easy to realize. After all, our family's food was also eaten up at that time. Zhang Yi asked, so, you woke up when you were about to starve to death? Oh, that's not true. Fatty Zhu turned his head away, scratching his fat face in embarrassment. It's still very warm lying in the quilt. Because I haven't starved to death, I thought it would be better to let myself be happy before I die. In the past, my parents always warned me that rewarding myself too much would hurt my body and my longevity. But I don't want to live anymore, so I don't care about the damage. So I rewarded myself a little more. Zhang Yi's eyelids twitched violently. He seemed to understand how Fatty Zhu awakened his abilities. How many times have you? Fatty Zhu almost buried his head in his crotch. I can't remember clearly, probably more than times. I was so rushed that I lost consciousness. Then after I lost consciousness, I inexplicably felt a change in my body. That feeling is very cool and wonderful. Zhang Yi fell into silence. Damn, someone actually awakened a supernatural power when he was about to die. No one would believe it. He can only say that everyone has their own opportunities. Zhang Yi sent Fatty Zhu to the river. Fatty Zhu looked at the Lujiang River several hundred meters away and asked weakly, Brother Zhang, can't you send me to the other side? His body is enough to run a few hundred meters. Zhang Yi smiled deeply. My car is prone to slipping on the ice. The last time the car broke down on the river, Zhang Yi was more careful. That is Fatty Zhu's home field, so he still needs to be vigilant. Fatty Zhu asked curiously, isn't your car a snowmobile? Yeah, a snowmobile is not an icebreaker. It can only be driven on snow, not on ice. Fatty Zhu felt that Zhang Yi's explanation was very reasonable, but last night, he was obviously very chic when he was driving a sniper. But Fatty Zhu didn't question it. He just unbuttoned his seatbelt honestly and prepared to get out of the car. Before leaving, Zhang Yi said to him, Chun-Li, there is something you need to be careful about. When Fatty Zhu heard Zhang Yi calling his name, he felt very cordial. Brother Zhang, what's the matter? Zhang Yi said with a serious face, the end times are very dangerous. Your Zujia town is a famous food and vegetable town in Xianhai City. Some people may come to snatch your food in the future. You have to be careful. Fatty Zhu swallowed his saliva and couldn't help becoming nervous. Yes, Brother Zhang, I remember. Chapter 204. Is it okay or not? 4,000 words big chapter. Fatty Zhu walked back along the ice surface of Lujiang step by step. Zhang Yi also drove back to Young Manor. The reason why he said those words to Fatty Zhu naturally had his deep-seated purpose. Remind the people in Zujia town. He's not that kind. Those people attacked him twice. Even if they were killed one day, Zhang Yi would not feel bad. But Zhang Yi knew that there would be other organizations and groups coming to attack Young Manor in the future. And Zujia town lived next to him, which was his natural barrier. After Zhang Yi instilled this thought into Fatty Zhu, anyone who appeared around him would be treated as a potential enemy by him. In that case, Zhu Jiazhen can help Zhang Yi share part of the hatred. It's great to have such a tool, man. Looking at the stupid figure on the ice, Zhang Yi said to himself. However, he also had to be vigilant. The reason why Fatty Zhu came to join him and recognized him as his eldest brother was because of the powerful strength he showed. If he wasn't strong enough, he might have been killed by people from Zudong village last night. So in the future, Zhang Yi must unswervingly exercise his strength and make himself stronger. Zhang Yi turned and left, feeling that his rear was basically stable. But there was one thing that he didn't even think of. That is Zhu Chun-Li, who represents Zudong village, or the most powerful person in Zujia town. In fact, he is not the most powerful person in the village. From Zhang Yi's point of view, this is unbelievable, but it is indeed the truth. So, after Fatty Zhu returned to the village, he excitedly ran to the current patriarch Zudong Tang to report the good news. He thought that he and Zhang Yi had reached a settlement, and the village would be safe from now on, without worrying about Zhang Yi's revenge. But after listening to his report, Zudong Tang's face became cloudy and uncertain. After being silent for a while, he said coldly to Fatty Zhu, who told you to make your own decisions? Fatty Zhu thought he would be praised, but Zudong Tang's reaction obviously poured cold water on him. He was a little puzzled. Grandpa 6, but I saved our village from being attacked. You have seen Zhang Yi's strength. It is not something we can compete with at all. Zhu Dongtang sneered. Are you still ashamed to talk about this? If you hadn't retreated yesterday and didn't dare to come forward, would our Zhu family have died so many people? Fatty Zhu's face suddenly turned pale, and he muttered, not knowing how to refute. Zhu Dongtang continued, if it wasn't for you, would your third grandfather die? Now you run over privately and talk about reconciliation with others, and you still feel that you have a lot of credit. Your face is really big. Fatty Zhu felt a burning pain on his face, and he was extremely disappointed in his heart. But, I promised third grandpa to protect the village. We can no longer have conflicts with Zhang Yi. Reconciliation is obviously the best. Shut up. Zhu Dongtang yelled suddenly, interrupting Fatty Zhu's words. He stared at Fatty Zhu majestically. Fatty Zhu didn't dare to look directly at him due to the majesty of his elders for a long time. That's self-righteous and smart. Now I'm the patriarch of the Zhu family, and you must first ask me for instructions in all your actions. You are not allowed to make your own opinions. Fatty Zhu bowed his head and remained silent, feeling very wronged in his heart. He felt that he was clearly a hero. At this moment, Zhu Dongtang's tone suddenly slowed down, and he came over and patted Fatty Zhu's shoulder slowly. Chun-Li, sixth grandpa knows that you also have good intentions, but you are still young and do not have mature ideas in doing things. Because of you, the Zhu family has already suffered heavy losses. It was I who tried my best to protect you in front of the tribe, so they didn't drive you out of the village. Zhu Dongtang sighed. From now on, you stay in the village to atone for your sins. Don't do stupid things again. You just need to obediently obey the orders of the village. Do you understand? Fatty Zhu lowered his head and did not speak. Zhu Dongtang emphasized his tone. Got it. Fatty Zhu's legs trembled instinctively, and he nodded helplessly. Understood. Only then did Zhu Dongtang show a satisfied expression. Well, you go back first. Remember, you are not allowed to act without authorization. After Fatty Zhu said so, he left Zhu Dongtang's house with a disappointed face. Seeing Fatty Zhu go away, Zhu Dongtang adjusted his glasses and murmured, young people are arrogant and domineering. Don't think that, if you have some skills, you can ignore your elders. HMPH. Then, he took out his mobile phone from his pocket and sent a message to the representatives of each branch in the village. You don't have to worry about Zhang Yi's affairs. I have already contacted him, and Zhang Yi agreed to reconcile with us. He will not threaten our safety in the future. The speakers in each branch were still worried about Zhang Yi's attack. Hearing Zhu Dongtang's words at this time, he was relieved immediately, and Kiki praised Zhu Dongtang's ability. It has to be you, sixth master. As soon as you go out, you will settle that bastard. Hey, you should have been the patriarch in the first place. The third master is too old and confused to commit such a wrong thing. The dead are the greatest, so don't say such things again. From now on, our village will be led by Master Liu, which is a good thing. After Zhang Yi returned home, he basically chatted with Zhao Ke and Yang Mi about Fatty Zhu and Zhu Dongtang. This is also to make them stop worrying. Yang Mi patted her bulging chest. This is really great. Zhao Ke looked at her teasingly. Isn't it? Are you scared at this level? Yang Mi said angrily. I didn't. I just don't want to see such a bloody scene again. If the fight continues, all the thousands of people in Zudong village will be wiped out by Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi can definitely do this kind of thing. Zhao Ke mocked with a smirk. It's true. That person almost vomited bile yesterday. When Yang Mi was told about her embarrassing things, she immediately blushed anxiously. Zhao Ke. Humph. Zhao Ke hugged Zhang Yi's arm triumphantly. Honey, you are awesome. Zhang Yi said disapprovingly. Those villagers are just cats and dogs, and they pose no threat to me. But in the future, if some underground forces appear, that will be the worst. Yang Mi smiled and comforted her. You always like to think of the bad things. It's rare that the current troubles are solved now, so let's celebrate it. Zhang Yi said in his heart. People have no long-term worries, but they must have near-term worries. I don't want to think about it in the long run. It may become a big trouble in the future. But it's rare that everyone is in a happy mood now, so he didn't say anything. Zhao Ke walked to the bar, picked out 2 bottles of red wine from the Burgundy region, and said with a smile, "Since we want to celebrate, let's have a drink together tonight." A cunning flashed in Yang Mi's eyes. "Alright then, I'll fry 2 special dishes." As a well-known socialite in the entertainment industry, she can drink very well. Today she plans to teach Zhang Yi and Zhao Ke a lesson. Zhang Yi said with a smile, "Just drink a little bit of meaning. My drinking capacity is not very good." Zhao Ke and Yang Mi laughed even happier when they heard this. It's rare to be happy today. Let's finish as soon as we order. So, the 3 of them got together and drank until the sky was dark. As the night was getting dark, Zhao Ke was the first to fall down, and Yang Mi held up half a bottle of red wine longer than her. Only Zhang Yi, who claimed not to drink, was still sitting at the table with piercing eyes. How could he look drunk? Looking at the 2 drunk cats who wanted to get drunk, Zhang Yi smiled slightly. "I forgot to tell you, I used to sell dry drinks." But seeing this, his throat couldn't help wriggling twice. The 2 women were both wearing light pajamas. They were both lying on the sofa after being drunk, and they hugged each other subconsciously. At this time, the clothes of the 2 were messy. Yang Mi suspender pajamas exposed most of her smooth and round shoulders. Her breasts were half exposed, and her eyes were as charming as silk. One of Zhao Ke's pink legs was resting on the back of the sofa, and the other was tucked between Yang Mi's legs. The posture was not elegant, but it had an insolent allure. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows, thinking of Yang Mi's previous prayer to him in his mind. He couldn't help showing a smirk. He walked over, reached out and flipped the switch to put the sofa flat. This kind of leather sofa is a big bed when it is put down, and it is a very large double bed. Looking at the 2 pretty and delicious beauties in front of him, Zhang Yi stretched out his hand to lift up Yang Mi's skirt. Not long after, Yang Mi, who was less drunk, woke up from her lethargy. In the dream, she felt that she was under the impact of a force. "When I woke up at this moment, I found that the feeling was getting stronger and stronger." When she opened her eyes, she saw Zhao Ke lying in front of her, and she was lying on her side facing Zhao Ke. That behind her is. Yang Mi turned around in astonishment, and then met Zhang Yi's handsome face. Her face blushed in embarrassment, and she stretched out her hand to gently push his chest. "You can't do this. Killer is still here. It's okay, she's asleep. Don't make any noise. In case you wake her up, it's up to you to explain it to her." Yang Mi quickly covered her mouth, for fear that she would make a sound and wake up her cousin, who was close at hand. But the sense of impact brought by behind her, and the stimulation of Secret 6, made her unable to extricate herself from it. From then on, Zhang Yi became more and more daring, and deliberately picked Yang Mi to find her when she was working during the day. Sometimes in the bathroom, sometimes in the botanical garden, sometimes in the kitchen. Yang Mi always felt ashamed towards Zhao Ke, but I don't know why. The more this happened, the stronger her body's reaction was. Painful and happy. On the other hand, Fatty Zoo's news would always come from Zhang Yi's cell phone. "Brother Zhang, I've been bored at home recently. When will you take me out to do tasks?" "Brother Zhang, I think we can form a super team. It is best to have 5 people, each representing a color. For example, if you are the captain, you will be called Yan Lang Zaya, and I will be called Snow Mastiff." "Brother Zhang, why don't you talk? If you don't like it, we can still form the rainbow team. I will be called the King of Green, and you will be called the King of Colorless. How do you like it?" After Fatty Zoo met Zhang Yi, he felt that he had found his kind. He didn't have many friends in the village, and he was squeezed out by the villagers after that war. Although they didn't dare to say anything on the surface, the alienation in their eyes was even more piercing than the cold north wind. Fatty Zoo had no choice but to pin his hopes on Zhang Yi, eager to get some comfort from him. In order to win people's hearts, Zhang Yi naturally had to chat with his younger brother. By the way, get some information from his mouth. After coming and going, Fatty Zoo told Zhang Yi all the information about his abilities. But gradually, Zhang Yi became a little overwhelmed. Because he doesn't have a girlfriend, this fat man has too much energy. He can send hundreds of messages to Zhang Yi in a day. Even if Zhang Yi ignores him, he can talk non-stop. "Fatty man, are you alright to be idle all day?" Zhang Yi gritted his teeth and asked. There was a pause of 2 seconds, and then Fatty Zoo's shocked voice came. "Fuck. Brother Zhang, you know all this? Could it be that this is all in your calculations? It's amazing. I'm convinced." Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi covered his face, really speechless to this fat man. He understood that people like Zhu Chunlei were not welcome in society. So when he meets someone who treats him a little better, he can't wait to take his heart out. Even though Zhang Yi showed his favor to him for a purpose, he always thinks of the good. Zhang Yi couldn't bear to scold the fat otaku anymore. He had no choice but to open ChatGPT and let the intelligent software help him reply to Fatty Zhu. Anyway, as long as he replies with "oh that's it," after he sends a dozen messages, he will be satisfied. Why do you feel like a scumbag? Zhang Yi shook his head, shaking off the thought in his mind. A few days passed peacefully. Yang Mi has already cultivated the botanical garden to a decent level, and she has also raised many dead flowers and plants in it. In the farmland, she planted some vegetables with the seeds given by Zhang Yi, especially things like shallots and peppers. These vegetables still have to be eaten fresh from the ground to have a taste. And Zhang Yi also checked the entire shelter inside and out, eliminating many potential safety hazards. However, there is one question that still lingers in Zhang Yi's mind. That is the security problem of the internet. He looked at the huge supercomputer in the control room and frowned slightly. This computer can control the entire shelter, providing him with a lot of convenience. It can be said that without it, the entire shelter would be paralyzed in an instant. If one day the shelter's network is hacked, the consequences will be dire. How to solve this problem? Zhang Yi fell into deep thought. Zhang Yi couldn't help thinking of Lu Fengde. He easily found Zhang Yi's personal information through the internet. Even Fatty Zhu, a deadhouse, can find his phone number. Network security is a big problem, and he has to find a way to plug this gap. Otherwise, once you meet a top computer expert one day, it is really possible that this shelter will be self-destructive. Chapter 205 Yang Min-039's Secret. This evening. The night is already deep. Yang Mi came to the living room quietly in the dark, and then tiptoed upstairs. She glanced at Zhang Yi's room, and a complex look flashed in her eyes. Then she changed the direction, came to Zhao Ke's door, and knocked lightly on the door. The door slowly opened, revealing Zhao Ke's beautiful face. Seeing Yang Mi, she whispered, "Come in." Yang Mi quietly entered the room. Zhao Ke carefully looked in the direction of Zhang Yi's room, and then slowly closed the door. Yang Mi took out her mobile phone, and handed it to Zhao Ke. Sitting on the bed, Zhao Ke glanced at the news on the phone, and immediately frowned tightly. Her expression was very complicated, tangled, unbearable, and she didn't know what to do. Yang Mi walked up to her and begged softly, "Care, you must help with this matter. You and Zhang Yi have been together for so long, and you must be easier to speak than me." Zhao Ke's expression was very hesitant. She put her white and tender palms on her plump chest, and said helplessly, "I understand your feelings. But, I know Zhang Yi too well. He won't do such a thing." Yang Mi was a little anxious. "But, we can't just ignore death, right? She is also your sister." Zhao Ke bit her lip, with a look of pain in her eyes. "But we don't know what's going on there now. Zhang Yi is a man who is too cautious, and this is also the basis for him to lead us to live. He won't help with this." Yang Mi closed her eyes, and took a deep breath. "If we don't try hard, how will we know it won't work?" When she opened her eyes, there was a determined look in her eyes. "Anyway, I'm going to give it a try." Seeing her appearance, Zhao Ke asked curiously, "What are you going to do?" Yang Mi put her right hand on her neck, and then walked down the white neck all the way, crossed the high mountain peaks, and the winding path, all the way to the deep and hidden place. "A woman's best weapon is her body," Zhao Ke suddenly said with some vigilance. "To put it bluntly, you just want to seduce him, right?" Yang Mi's face turned red. "Why not? I'm also doing it for Xingxin." Zhao Ke snorted coldly. "HMPH, don't think I don't know what you guys are doing secretly." Yang Mi's eyes dodged, and she said immediately, "Just tell me, if you can help me with this matter." Zhao Ke frowned slightly. "Help you?" She is a very smart woman. After a little thought, she immediately realized what Yang Mi meant. For a moment, her face was red to the neck. I wouldn't do that kind of thing. What a shame. She can't get used to 3 people or something." Just when the two women were discussing how to sleep with Zhang Yi, boom boom boom, there was a knock on the door outside. Zhao Ke and Yang Mi were taken aback. At this time, the only person who can knock on the door is Zhang Yi. Yang Mi's heart tightened. Zhang Yi came over before she had discussed with Zhao Ke. How should this be explained? Zhao Ke hurried over and opened the door. Outside the door, Zhang Yi stood there in black pajamas, looking at her, and Yang Mi sitting on the bed playfully. He found out when Yang Mi went upstairs. Perhaps because of his usual caution, or perhaps because of the insight of the space system ability, Zhang Yi is very sensitive to the surrounding noises. He was very curious about what these two women couldn't talk about during the day, but they had to wait until he fell asleep in the middle of the night before secretly plotting together. At this time, Zhao Ke and Yang Mi were also wearing pajamas. Zhao Ke was dressed in pink, and Yang Mi was dressed in purple, both very sexy styles. After all, Zhang Yi personally picked them for them. The most wonderful thing about this kind of pajamas is that the places that should be covered can be covered, but the places that should not be covered will be revealed. The highest style is not naked, but hidden. The white calves that are looming under the pajamas, the crisp breasts and snow white feet that can be glimpsed, are more likely to arouse people's impulses. In the middle of the night, the two beauties quietly gathered together, and they were still wearing very simple clothes. After being discovered, Zhao Ke's face still maintained a strange blush, and Yang Mi also had a weird expression of being caught stealing food. It is inevitable that Zhang Yi will not think too much. He narrowed his eyes. Are you so open? He pinched Zhao Ke's chin with one hand, looked at her confused eyes and said, actually, you don't need to hide it. I'm quite open. Next time you really have such thoughts, you can do it in front of my face. People, after all, are curious. I have never seen how tofu is ground. Zhang Yi smiled badly. At this time, Zhao Ke understood what Zhang Yi meant, no matter how innocent he was. Oh, you're dead. I'm not Lala. She greeted Zhang Yi's chest with her fists. Oh, no? Then why do you stay up in the middle of the night and lie on the same bed? Exchange technology. Zhang Yi looked at Yang Mi on the bed playfully. There was a hint of suspicion in the joke. Yang Mi is so smart, she immediately understood what Zhang Yi meant. No, Zhang Yi. We are just talking about a family matter. Family? Zhang Yi paused when he heard this word. His parents passed away a few years ago. Although he has some relatives in Shanghai City, his relationship with Zhang Yi is just average. As for other relatives and friends, they are all far away. So Zhang Yi walks alone and has no burden. However, not everyone is like him. Zhang Yi hugged Zhao Ke into the door, closed the door with his backhand, and went to bed. The three of them sat on the bed in pajamas and started talking at night. Tell me, I hope there will be no secrets between the three of us. Zhang Yi smiled and looked at the two of them. Do you have any relatives living far away who want to pick you up to live together? Having been together for a period of time, it is inevitable that feelings will develop. If they want to leave, Zhang Yi will definitely feel a little bit reluctant. However, it is their freedom to leave here, and Zhang Yi will not stop it. Not like this. Zhao Ke shook his head. His expression was a little gloomy. After the snowstorm, I lost contact with my family. Now I don't know if they are dead or alive. Zhao Ke developed in Shanghai City by himself, and the distance between him and his family was very far, and some even lived abroad. Judging from the current communication conditions, it is impossible to contact at all. Moreover, there is a high probability that they have died in the snowstorm. Zhang Yi nodded and looked at Yang Mi again. If there is no problem with Zhao Ke, then it can only be her. Sure enough, Yang Mi's expression changed subtly after Zhang Yi looked at her. Actually, it was indeed my family who contacted me. Chapter 206 The Genius Female Hacker. Zhang Yi lowered his eyes upon hearing this. Yang Mi didn't get along with him for a long time, and from the very beginning, she never gave up her plan to leave here. I just didn't expect this day to come so soon. But, so be it. Zhang Yi is a little bit reluctant, but he doesn't care too much. There is always a banquet in the world, and life will go on as usual without anyone. Are they coming to pick you up? Zhang Yi asked. Yang Mi quickly waved her hand. No, that's not the case. Actually. She was a little embarrassed to speak, and her black silk feet curled up awkwardly. Zhang Yi felt a little strange. What do you mean? I don't quite understand. Your family has found you. Don't they want to take you away? Yang Mi smiled dryly and said, it is true that a family member has contacted me. But it's not that they want to take me away. It's just, she struggled for a while, then looked at Zhang Yi with watery eyes, and said pleadingly, it's that she is in danger. I hope I can save her. That begging look really made me feel pity for her, and I wanted someone to hold her in his arms and crush her hard. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows, and finally understood why she secretly discussed with Zhao Ke without telling him. If it was her family, it would naturally be Zhao Ke's relatives as well. Save people. With just these two little girls, what are they going to do to save people? Didn't it fall on your own head in the end? Zhang Yi wanted to understand everything, and a playful smile could not help but rise from the corner of his mouth. Oh, so that's how it is. Are you kidding me? Let him save a person who has nothing to do with him and treat him as the virgin? Seeing that the matter was broken, Yang Mi didn't care about being reserved. She crawled over from the bed, hugged Zhang Yi's arm tightly and begged, Zhang Yi, please help me this time. I will find such a person right now. Family, I don't want to lose her. The feminine fragrance from her body poured into Zhang Yi's nose, refreshing. In order to let Zhang Yi help her, she went all out, her bumpy body stuck to Zhang Yi tightly. This is called a beauty trap. Not only Yang Mi, but even Zhao Ke came over for that person. Zhang Yi, I know this matter has nothing to do with you. But, she is a relative. If we let her die, we will feel guilty for the rest of our lives. Zhang Yi looked at them with a smile. You ask me to save people. Don't you know what's going on outside now? My information has been exposed. I don't know how many people covet the supplies in my hands, and this super shelter. Leaving here means venturing outside. Would I do this for a stranger? Without even thinking about it, Zhang Yi flatly refused. Beauty tricks didn't work well for him either. Don't think that, after getting along for a long time, they can affect Zhang Yi's judgment. Seeing that Zhang Yi refused so simply, Yang Mi and Zhao Ke were also anxious. This is the last hope to save that person. Zhang Yi, I can't just watch her die. As long as you agree to save her, then whatever you ask for in the future, I will satisfy you. In order to save others, Yang Mi went all out, not even her last limit. Seeing this, Zhao Ke bit her lip, and leaned into Zhang Yi's ear, and said a few words. Zhang Yi's eyes lit up immediately. Is this true? Zhao Ke had just been hired not long ago, so she was ashamed to try many skills. But just now, she actually took the initiative to propose some bold attempts, and Zhang Yi would be lying if he said that he was not tempted. Then do you agree? The second daughter looked at Zhang Yi expectantly. Zhang Yi took a deep breath, smiled slightly, and was about to refuse. At this time, Yang Mi said again, Xingxin's legs have always been bad, and she might not be able to last long outside in such cold weather. Thinking of this makes my heart ache. Zhang Yi suddenly retracted the words that came to his lips. Xingxin? He remembered the name. Yang Mi had mentioned before that she had a cousin named Yang Xingxin. This girl is studying in a noble school in Qianhe City. She is very beautiful and a top hacker. Beautiful girl, top hacker. Enter the above keywords to search, and the result is exquisite. Zhang Yi's heart became excited, and now he is most worried about the network problem. But it is not easy to find a reliable computer expert at such a time. The key is that the word reliable is a rarest thing. An untrustworthy person, if he enters this shelter, he will definitely not be able to rest assured. Otherwise, he would have asked Lu Fengde, a computer expert, to come over. And this Yang Xingxin is Yang Mi's cousin, Zhao Ke's cousin, so she must be trustworthy in terms of relationship. A beautiful girl with paralyzed legs fully meets the three necessary conditions of being beautiful, strong, and miserable. Zhang Yi immediately swallowed back what he wanted to say. He suddenly held Yang Mi and Zhao Ke's hands in his hand, looked at them affectionately, and sighed. Okay, stop talking. Since she is your sister, she is my Zhang Yi's sister. If she is in danger, how can I stand idly by? Yang Mi and Zhao Ke had expressions of extreme surprise on their faces. Especially Zhao Ke. She couldn't believe that these words could come out of Zhang Yi's vocal cords. Because in her impression, Zhang Yi is an exquisite egoist who always puts himself first. But since Zhang Yi agreed, she was naturally extremely happy in her heart. Zhao Ken thought sweetly. Zhang Yi must have done this for me. Sure enough, he loves me. Tears welled up in the corners of Yang Mi's excited eyes. Zhang Yi, thank you so much. Zhang Yi smiled and wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes and said to the second daughter, why, in your eyes, don't I, Zhang Yi, be a mercenary person who doesn't show any human touch? You are thinking wrong. My indifference is just an appearance to other people, but I cherish the people around me very much. He took the hands of the two women and kissed them lightly. The two women's faces were shy, and their views on Zhang Yi also changed a lot. Zhao Ke sank even deeper. As for Yang Mi, she also fell in love with him. The two women looked at each other, then pushed Zhang Yi down on the bed tacitly. Yang Mi bit her lips lightly. Her eyebrows were affectionate. Zhang Yi, let us give you a good reward tonight. As a woman, this is the only way she can think of to repay now. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. Oh, just once. Are you underestimating me? How many times? It depends on your ability. Yang Mi bit her cherry lips and said. Chapter 207 Monsters. Zhang Yi decided to rescue Yang Xingxin and come back. After all, for him, the biggest problem for the sanctuary today is network security. Once a house, that is mostly intelligentized, is invaded by an external network, the threat it will pose to Zhang Yi is unimaginable. He considered this decision very carefully and didn't make it on a whim. But before going there, he had to make a detailed plan and collect information before going. After tossing all night, Zhang Yi called Yang Mi and Zhao Ke over the next day to discuss the rescue plan together. Tell me well what's going on with her, Zhang Yi said to the two very cautiously. Zhao Ke looked at Yang Mi. You should talk about it. After all, Yang Mi is Yang Xingxin's cousin, and the relationship is closer than her, so Yang Mi knows more information than her. Yang Mi sat upright and said with a serious face, Xingxin is trapped in Xian King Academy. Xian King Academy is the premier school for nobles in Xianhei City. It is not open to the public, and ordinary people don't know much about it. This school is integrated from kindergarten to university. It only trains the children of the powerful, and it also recruits a very small number of geniuses. After graduation, all the people in it are seed players in the political and business circles. Zhang Yi nodded, expressing that he was no stranger to this. Around 2050, education has achieved polarization. Ordinary people and the elite and the powerful, the level of education received, is completely three parallel lines. Whether it is the school, the faculty or the promotion path after graduation, there will be no intersection. Therefore, some monopolized educational institutions, that is, aristocratic institutions, were born. Educational qualifications are still useful to ordinary people, but they have lost their meaning to the real upper class. If she was in school, how did she, a girl with disabled legs, survive until now? This is a question Zhang Yi asked. With such a high population density in the school, there are usually not many supplies. If it is said that people fight with each other to get food, there is still the possibility of survival. But that Yang Xingxin, she has been suffering from polio since she was a child. Yang Mi said, Xian King College has its own special food supply channel, and the food stored in the warehouse is also very rich. Xingxin and the others hid in the school cafeteria, so they didn't starve to death. Zhang Yi nodded, which is also reasonable. But I don't understand one thing. If she can contact the outside world, why didn't she contact you before, but wait until now? Zhang Yi found this very strange. When people are in adversity, they must try their best to keep themselves alive. Anyone who can ask for help will not be spared. Why wait until the end of the world is almost 2 months before thinking of contacting the outside world? Yang Mi was also stumped by this question. Her expression was a little hesitant, and a puzzled look flashed in her eyes. At that time, I was so busy worrying that I didn't have time to ask her. She took out her mobile phone. I'll give her a call now. Zhang Yi nodded and looked at her quietly. Yang Mi turned on the external voice in front of Zhang Yi, and then dialed the number. Beep, beep, beep. Sorry, the number you dialed is temporarily unanswered. Please try again later. Yang Mi's expression was a little embarrassed, and she said to Zhang Yi, I want to contact her again later, but it keeps telling me that I can't get through. Zhao Ke covered her mouth and sneered, don't think too much, maybe she thought you were dead at first. That's why she didn't call you. Certainly not. Yang Mi glared at her angrily. Zhang Yi rubbed the back of his left hand with the palm of his right hand and suddenly asked, how far is Shine King Academy from here? Yang Mi thought for a while and replied, about 10 kilometers. Perhaps. Zhang Yi smiled helplessly. This woman's grasp of the distance made people a little at a loss for what to say. He took out his mobile phone and began to search on the map. Although the signal is not good now and the satellite positioning has problems, it is still no problem to use the previous map to query the distance. After some searching by Zhang Yi, he found the answer. Cheyenne King College is located in Zishan district. From Yangmana to there, the straight line distance is 22.6 kilometers. With such a distance, it is a miracle that the phone can be connected once. Yang Mi and Zhao Ken suddenly realized. No wonder it turned out to be like this. Zhang Yi looked at Yang Mi and said with a playful smile, but it doesn't rule out the possibility that people think you died first, so they don't bother to call you. Yang Mi clenched her fists angrily. No. I'm an adult anyway. Zhang Yi stood up and said to the two people, come to the control room. Ordinary mobile phones cannot transmit signals through Nebula's satellite chain, but that super server can. Both Yang Mi and Zhao Ke are computer idiots, which is not as good as Zhang Yi. The two obediently followed Zhang Yi to the control room. Zhang Yi turned on the computer and then used the internet phone to dial Yang Xingxin. Soon, a sound of electric current came from the computer, buzzing, as if it had received some kind of strong interference. It looks like they are in a place with a very unstable signal. Zhang Yi judged. After a few seconds, a soft voice came from inside. Who are you? After hearing this voice, Yang Mi and Zhao Ken showed excitement on their faces. It's Xingxin. Yang Mi hurried over and said anxiously and joyfully, Xingxin, I'm my sister. Tell me where you are now. My sister will come to find you soon. The voice on the other end of the phone was intermittent and noisy. I'm in the school cafeteria. It's dangerous. Take me. Leave. Hearing the word dangerous, Zhao Ke and Yang Mi were both very nervous, and Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with seriousness. Zhang Yi asked, what's the danger? Cats, they kill. The sound became more and more chaotic, and the loud current made people's ears hurt. Zhang Yi frowned and was about to continue asking when suddenly a very eerie voice came from the other end. That is not a roar that humans can make. It is extremely shrill and very long. The three of Zhang Yi's backs were covered with white sweat, and Yang Mi and Zhao Ke turned pale with fright and hurried into Zhang Yi's arms. Immediately afterwards, they heard chaotic shouts from the phone. Run. Wit. Monster. The voices of a group of people were full of panic and despair, and that extremely shrill voice never stopped. Zhang Yi even heard the sound of limbs being torn apart and bones being chewed. This voice is more permeating than the ones he heard when he was living in Yulu district. Crackling. Beep beep. The phone was hung up suddenly, leaving only the busy tone echoing anxiously. Chapter 208 3 Aliens. The call stopped abruptly, leaving only the sound of beep echoing in the control room. Zhang Yi sat on the chair, his eyes drooped slightly, and he began to think. I thought it was as simple as going to a certain place to find people. But now it seems that there are more troubles in it. He is a person who doesn't like trouble very much. At this time, Yang Mi suddenly hugged Zhang Yi's arm nervously. Zhang Yi. Her eyes were full of pleading, even tears. The danger of her sister made her extremely anxious, so she could only beg Zhang Yi to save her. Zhang Yi looked at Yang Mi and Zhao Ke, smiled slightly and said, don't worry, I said I would save her, and I will. Although things may be troublesome for Zhang Yi today, it is not a difficult task. After all, he now has to help us from other people. Call Uncle Yu over when the tank opens the way in front. Fatty Zhu is the mage controlling the field, and Zhang Yi finds the right time at the end. If something goes wrong, he can also run away immediately. This formation is simply perfect. In the early days of the end of the world, the combination of three aliens can sweep most territories. Besides, the current him really needs a top computer expert. Hearing Zhang Yi's promise, both Yang Mi and Zhao Ke felt relieved. After Zhang Yi comforted them, he went back to contact Uncle Yu and Fatty Zhu and asked them to accompany him there. Uncle Yu naturally agreed. Fatty Zhu didn't dare to go against Zhang Yi's wishes, and he agreed to it as a simple search and rescue operation. Since Yang Xingxin's current environment was found to be dangerous, Zhang Yi did not delay and told them to set off for Shine King Academy tomorrow after getting ready. As for the piercing ghostly scream that he heard when he was on the phone, Zhang Yi could probably guess what it was. Either it is a genetically mutated alien, or it is another mutated creature. Although it sounds terrible, Yang Xingxin, a girl with paralyzed legs, can survive for a month, which shows that the thing is not something that Zhang Yi and 3 other people can't handle. On the eve of departure, Zhang Yi checked the weapons and equipment in his room. Since you may face mutants, you must be more cautious than dealing with ordinary people before. Even the pistol, he also replaced it with 2 more powerful models, which used armor-piercing bullets. This kind of pistol will have more recoil when used, but its power is absolutely trustworthy. Other equipment was also prepared by Zhang Yi as usual. The ones that are convenient to carry close to the body are placed on the body, and the large weapons are placed in a different space, all of which are fully loaded and can be taken out and fired at any time. The next morning, Yang Mi and Zhao Ke got up early and prepared a hearty breakfast for Zhang Yi. Of course Zhang Yi would not take them out. Although the 2 women experienced some cruel scenes when they encountered life and death, their legs would weaken in fear. They have no combat effectiveness and will only become dragging oil bottles. Zhang Yi looked at the pile of delicious food on the table and didn't eat much, but tasted a little of each dish. Eating too much food will easily affect the movement, let alone drink too much porridge and soup. In case of urgency, urinating on this day may even freeze the second brother to death. Zhang Yi had suffered a lot before, so when he went out on weekdays, he would not eat too much in advance, let alone drink more water. Of course, if his physical energy is exhausted, there is enough food and water in the different space to replenish it. After breakfast, Zhang Yi's cell phone rang, and it was Fatty Zhu calling. He picked up his phone and connected. "Hello, brother Zhang, I've already crossed the river. I'm waiting for you by the side of the road." Fatty Zhu knew that there were traps near Zhang Yi's house, so he didn't dare to come here. Until now, his second brother, 4th brother, and 6th uncle are still buried under that patch of snow. "Wait for me a moment, I'll be right over." Zhang Yi hung up the phone and said to Yang Mi and Zhao Ke, who were looking at him attentively, "I'm leaving. During the time I'm away, to ensure your safety, you go to the basement to stay." Yang Mi asked stupidly, "Why are you going to the basement? Isn't this house very safe?" Zhao Ke tugged at her clothes. "Just let you go there." Zhao Ke knows Zhang Yi too well and knows what his purpose is for doing this. The news was provided by Yang Mi and Zhao Ke, and the person who was rescued was their younger sister. So it's possible that this was a game of their partnership, deliberately deceiving Zhang Yi. Although considered from various perspectives, this possibility is very small, but Zhang Yi never believed in probability, he only believed in himself. Yang Mi felt baffled, but she still followed Zhang Yi and Zhao Ke to the basement floor. Zhang Yi locked the 2 of them into the room made of alloy and closed the door with his key with the highest authority. No one could open the door and let them out until he came back. In this case, even if someone breaks in, it will not threaten your safety, Zhang Yi said with a smile. Before he left enough food and water for them, and there was a private bathroom inside, so there was no need to worry about cleaning. Zhao Ke smiled softly. "Well, thank you, Zhang Yi. We will wait for your return." Yang Mi probably knew what was going on in her heart at this time. Although being suspected made her feel a little uncomfortable. After all, Zhang Yi was going to save her sister, so she was not angry anymore. "Zhang Yi, you must bring Xingxin back safely." Yang Mi clasped her hands together, praying nervously. Zhang Yi touched his nose and said with a smile, "As long as she is safe and sound, when I pass by, then I will definitely bring her back to you intact." After getting Zhang Yi's promise, Yang Mi patted her chest, which was about to come out, and let out a long sigh of relief. She blew a kiss to Zhang Yi. "I will serve you well after you come back." Zhang Yi gritted his teeth. "Just wash your butt and wait for me." "What? Ass?" Yang Mi turned pale with shock, subconsciously covered her hips with both hands, and stepped back step by step. Zhang Yi laughed and left. Yang Mi bit her lip shyly and murmured, "It's the first time there, I heard it hurts." But Zhang Yi really helped her save her sister. She can reward Zhang Yi once. After all, there has to be a first time for everything, and flowers always bloom more and more vigorously. Zhang Yi locked the two women in the alloy room, walked out of the house and let out a long breath. If possible, he doesn't want to have to guard against those around him. But the current situation is like this. If you want to live safely, you must be cautious in everything, and you must not be careless. Besides, the underground house is very comfortable and warm, and he has left enough food. They are always more comfortable than Zhang Yi, who is adventuring outside. When Zhang Yi thought about it this way, he didn't think there was any problem in doing so. Chapter 209 Azure Academy. Zhang Yi came to the road by the river. Fatty Zhu was wrapped up tightly, with his hands in his pockets, stomping his feet to keep warm. After seeing Zhang Yi, he immediately waved affectionately. "Brother Zhang, I'm here." Zhang Yi walked over and said to him, "Didn't I tell you, come and gather at 9 o'clock in the morning? Look at what time it is." Fatty Zhu scratched his head and said with a smirk, "I'm afraid that I'll be late and delay Brother Zhang's business." Zhang Yi was also a little helpless towards this fat man. He reached out to take the snowmobile out of the different space, opened the door, and said to him, "Come on, it's too cold outside." Fatty Zhu happily sat in the co-pilot's seat, and Zhang Yi turned on the air conditioner in the car. With the outside temperature, the oil consumption is still relatively large when the air conditioner is turned on. But now that Zhang Yi has Fatty Zhu as his right-hand man, he can easily get the fuel he needs in the future, so there is no need to be stingy. As soon as the air conditioner was turned on, Fatty Zhu relaxed a lot. He thought to himself, "Brother Zhang is so kind to me. He specially turned on the air conditioner in case I would freeze. Woohoo, touched." "Brother Zhang, where are we going today?" Zhang Yi said lightly. "Go to a school and save a person." "Save someone? Oh, I understand. That must be Brother Zhang, your important relative or friend." Fatty Zhu looked serious. Zhang Yi curled his lips slightly. "Very important person? About the same. Yang Xingxin's computer technology is indeed what he needs very much now." Not long after Fatty Zhu was moved, his chatterbox nature started to make trouble again. He nagged in Zhang Yi's ear endlessly, wishing he could tell Zhang Yi everything about him from childhood to adulthood. Zhang Yi was also quite speechless. Now that they met, he couldn't even use his intelligent voice to deal with Fatty Zhu. "I'm also embarrassed to put on the earplugs. I can only try my best to let Fatty Zhu's words enter the left ear and exit the right ear. Zhu Lily from our village. I'm not bragging. She definitely has a crush on me for a long time. Every time she looks at me, she looks different from other people. By the way, she even ran over to thank me. Hey, girls nowadays are thin-skinned. If you like me, just tell me. Why are you embarrassed?" Zhang Yi's forehead is full of black lines. If it wasn't for what happened next, he would still be useful. I really want to kick him out of the car. "By the way, what is the attitude of the people in your village towards me now?" Zhang Yi deliberately asked this question. Sure enough, Fatty Zhu's voice stopped abruptly, and his expression became strange. Is that even a question? Zhang Yi killed or disabled half of the men in their village. It is absolutely impossible to expect those people to be grateful to him. If it weren't for fear of Zhang Yi's strength, they would definitely want revenge. It was impossible for Fatty Zhu to say these words. But Zhang Yi obtained temporary peace. The two were waiting in the car, and not long after, a black snowmobile appeared on the other side of the road. "People are coming," Zhang Yi said. Fatty Zhu also raised his head curiously and looked forward. Soon, Uncle Yu drove the car closer. "Zhang Yi, long time no see." Uncle Yu was very happy to see Zhang Yi, and came over to say hello cheerfully. When Zhang Yi saw Uncle Yu, his eyes showed admiration. Uncle Yu's ability is physical strengthening, which can strengthen his physical strength and increase cell activity. Therefore, his physical strength is particularly strong, and his self-healing power far exceeds that of ordinary people. This is the standard tank front row. And after not seeing him for a long time, his physique has become stronger than before. Even through the thick clothes, one can see his strong physique. "Long time no see, Uncle Yu. You're in good shape now." Uncle Yu raised his arm proudly. "That's right. I feel like my body is 10 years younger now, like a boy in his 30s, with the most vigorous physical and energy." Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and smiled at him ambiguously. "It's mainly about energy, right? Hey, there are all of them. After the two exchanged pleasantries, Zhang Yi introduced Fatty Zhu to Uncle Yu. This is Fatty Zhu, Zhu Chunlei, an ice and snow ability user. Can manipulate ice and snow. This is Uncle Yu Jiguan Gao, a person with the ability to strengthen the body, and a veteran who is worthy of respect. Fatty Zhu and Uncle Yu said hello, and they knew each other. However, both of them murmured in their hearts. The three people at the scene are all strangers? This is only the beginning of the end of the world, and awakened people are extremely rare. How low is the probability of gathering three people at once? Uncle Yu couldn't hide what was on his mind. He crossed his arms and asked Zhang Yi, "Zhang Yi, what are you going to do this time? Do you need the three of us to go there together?" Fatty Zhu was also full of curiosity. Three strangers fight together. The other party's background may not be small, right? Zhang Yi waved his hand. It's not as complicated as you think. It's just going to school to save a female student. Female student? The eyes of Uncle Yu and Fatty Zhu became eager. How old are you in elementary school? Zhang Yi glared at Fatty Zhu viciously. Take away your dead house attributes. Fatty Zhu covered his mouth innocently. Zhang Yi said, "It's my girlfriend's younger sister. I just found her in a school more than 20 kilometers away from here. I found something abnormal around there. It might be a mutant creature. I called you here, just to be on the safe side." Uncle Yu nodded. Fatty Zhu sensed something was wrong from Zhang Yi's address. Mutated creature? Isn't it a mutant? Zhang Yi sneered and said, "Who stipulated that only human beings can mutate? Humans can mutate, and any cellular organism can mutate." Uncle Yu asked curiously, "Do you know what it is?" Zhang Yi shook his head. "I don't know either. Qianhe City has a complete range of species, so many people who keep pets, and there are sea fish, shrimp, and crabs in the seafood market. Who knows what has mutated into a fine creature? Of course, it may be a human. But if it is a human, it must be crazy." Zhang Yi thought of that penetrating voice, which was definitely not something that normal human vocal cords could make. Uncle Yu laughed and said, "It doesn't matter, no matter what it is. If the three of us go there together, we can clean it up properly, right?" Zhang Yi nodded. "That's what I mean. The three of us work together, and nothing can endanger our safety." Uncle Yu nodded. "Then what are you waiting for? Let's go." "Okay, let's go." Zhang Yi and Fatty Zhu got on the snowmobile, while Uncle Yu rode the motorcycle Zhang Yi gave him. Zhang Yi turned on the smart navigation of his mobile phone and located Qianqing College. Today, the nebula satellite system above the sky can still work, and positioning can still be done point. Even if there are some errors, it is almost the same. After the positioning was over, Zhang Yi started the car and drove towards Qianqing College, with Uncle Yu driving alongside on a motorcycle. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210 Survivor. A few days ago, the former site of Qianqing College. The white snow has already covered the entire campus, except for several bell towers and the spires of high-rise buildings emerging from the snow. This top-level noble school with an area of 2,000 mu has completely disappeared on the ground. It's hard to believe that there are still people alive in this bustling campus covered by ice and snow. This depends on the sturdiness of the Qianqing Academy's school building and the huge amount of money invested in its construction. After all, the children who go to school in this place are the children of officials and wealthy businessmen. The schools they built for their children were 100 times better than public schools. At this time, a group of students took refuge in a gymnasium in the school. Under the snow layer, the air is thin. Coupled with the horrible incidents encountered in the past few days, everyone is exhausted physically and mentally. Everyone gathered in groups of 3 or 4, with haggard and panic expressions on their faces. The teacher who just took care of them went to the warehouse to find food, leaving them here to rest. In a corner of the gymnasium, a long-haired girl was sitting in a wheelchair, looking down at the floor of the basketball court in a daze. Her skin was sickly white, even paler than the snow outside. Her slender figure could be blown down by a gust of wind, so fragile. But under the long black hair, there is a beautiful face. Exquisite and small, not as big as a palm. Its appearance is 6 points similar to Yang Mi, but it has two completely different styles from Yang Mi. Yang Mi's face is always full of stubbornness and self-improvement, and the weakness and tenderness on her face can definitely make every man's desire to protect burst. To describe it in one sentence, it is absolutely poor girl, as beautiful as a flower that will wither at any time. She is Yang Mi's cousin Yang Xingxin. But at this time, this genius hacker girl seemed a little lonely. She has only one longtime friend by her side. The other students are far away from them, and they don't want to get involved. He even looked at Yang Xingxin with disgust. It's not because Yang Xingxin did anything wrong. Simply because she has disabled legs, and she's still alive. Now everyone is in danger, and no one knows when the horrible creatures in the dark will appear. Having a cripple by your side is equivalent to having an extra burden. But their teacher is a person who attaches great importance to teacher morality, and every time he encounters danger, he has to take her with him. At first, everyone didn't have any complaints about Yang Xingxin, but they cared about her and took care of her. But as more and more people died, they changed from the initial number of more than 100 people to the current number of more than 40 people, and everyone's mentality has undergone distorted changes. Yang Xingxin, who can only sit in a wheelchair, is regarded as a burden, even if she doesn't do anything. Some even blamed Yang Xingxin for his friend's death. Others are dead. Why are you still alive as a cripple? Could it be because of your existence that everyone was killed? In the desperate situation of death, human beings either burst out the extremely rare kindness, or burst out the evil, hidden deep in their hearts. The latter is easier, because hate is easier to learn than forgiveness. And this evil made their hearts extremely distorted. In the depression of death, people always need to find some way to release their negative emotions. If pleasure can be obtained by bullying the weak, they are happy to squander this crime at a moment when life and death are unknown. The strong draw their knives at the stronger ones in anger, and the weak draw their knives at the weaker ones in anger. Breathing thin oxygen, none of the students in the gymnasium had any extra energy to move around. Everyone leaned against the wall, or sat on the gym mat, and started talking. A girl spoke slowly. You say, can we still live? When the girls around heard the words, fear and helplessness appeared on their tired faces. Another girl hugged her knees tightly and said tremblingly, we can definitely survive. We can definitely. But, too many people have died. Li Humin, Yuan Sisi, Zhao Huan, Tong Xiaya. After reading the names one by one, everyone felt extremely cold in their hearts. Those were all their former classmates, and they were the ones who died in front of their eyes. At this moment, a girl with curly hair caught a glimpse of Yang Xingxin in a wheelchair. For no reason, a strong sense of disgust rose from her heart. So many people died. Why is this disabled person still alive? Once this topic started, it was difficult to end it. Everyone seemed to have found an outlet, and Kiki looked at Yang Xingxin angrily. I have to take her with me every time I run away. It's really troublesome. Teacher Liang is really serious. Just let her feed the monsters. That's right. What's the point of her? With her appearance, she might die of illness someday. I think she is a broom star. She doesn't die, but keeps dragging us down. The expressions of the girls gradually became distorted, with perverted joy in the distortion. The criticism of Yang Xingxin gave them pleasure in this despair. Just throw all the responsibility on Yang Xingxin. It seemed that, if Yang Xingxin died, they would all be able to survive. Or maybe they are simply releasing their malice and fear. Once someone starts this topic, the people around will also be affected. I think she is also a burden. If she dies, will everyone not have to work so hard? If she dies, the monster will not let us go. But, if there is a next time, can we throw her down to lure the monster? In that case, at least her sacrifice is meaningful. It's like this anyway. Why is she still struggling? Even if she survives, she's a useless person. The girls talked more and more unscrupulously. Their voices gradually became louder, and finally the expressions on their faces became distorted and crazy. On the boys' side, some people were talking about the need to protect Yang Xingxin. We've protected her for long enough, so we've done our best, right? A boy with flat hair frowned. Why don't you take her with you next time? At this time, a boy with his back against the wall and a perm said helplessly, what's the use of talking about it? Mr. Liang is reluctant to leave someone behind every time. What's the result? Heh, aren't more people dying more and more? He is the monitor of this class named Wu Chengyu. At this moment, among the people who started talking about Yang Xingxin, a girl with a ponytail suddenly stood up. With a weird smile on her face, she walked up to Yang Xingxin step by step with her hands behind her back. Yang Xingxin raised her head, not daring to look at her in fear. Zhang Mengning. Zhang Mengning walked up to Yang Xingxin and looked down at her condescendingly. Her gaze gradually became vicious. Then she bowed her body and said to Yang Xingxin, please die quickly, please. You are completely a burden in this way. So disgusting. Chapter 211 Bullying. With a smile on her face, Zhang Mengning said such cruel words to Yang Xingxin. Yang Xingxin froze in place all of a sudden. She opened her eyes blankly. 2 lines of tears just slid down her cheeks. When everyone saw this scene, no one stood up to accuse Zhang Mengning, but instead laughed. Some people even clapped their hands, thinking that Zhang Mengning did a good job. Zhang Mengning, you are enough. We are all classmates. How can you say such cruel words? A pretty girl with short hair came over and quickly stood in front of Yang Xingxin. She is Yang Xingxin's best friend Lu Karen. If she hadn't been pushing Yang Xingxin's wheelchair, Yang Xingxin would have died long ago. Zhang Mengning clutched her stomach and suddenly laughed wildly. Ha ha ha. Lu Karen, what are you? You deserve to talk to me like that. A scornful gleam flashed in her eyes, and she pointed at Lu Karen and said, a person like you, who is admitted to school with special care, dare to talk back to Miss Ben, and forget your identity? Among the noble schools, the grade division is stricter. Zhang Mengning is the daughter of a wealthy family, and although Lu Karen has a good family background, he can only be regarded as the bottom in Shine King Academy. Lu Karen blushed, clenched his fists and said, so what if you have money in your family? Now is the time. How much money in your family can save you? Zhang Mengning said angrily, shut up. No matter when, the gap between you and us cannot be erased. Just leave this ghost place and see the light of day again. You and I are still not from the same world. She looked at Yang Xingxin viciously and pointed at her while laughing. Yang Xingxin, it's because you have dragged everyone down that so many of our classmates have died now. You should die quickly, don't live any longer. Tears welled up in Yang Xingxin's eyes, being cursed so viciously by Zhang Mengning. She didn't refute, but just lowered her head and let the tears fall on the back of her white hands. Yang Xingxin couldn't stand her friend being insulted like this. She retorted, Zhang Mengning, Xingxin is also a human being, and she has the right to live. Why do you say that about her? The deaths of the others cannot be blamed on Xingxin. At this moment, another girl with a long ponytail and an oval face like a princess stood up. She said slowly, however, a disabled person who can only sit in a wheelchair will indeed drag us all down. The girl's name is Zheng Yunkong, and she is the daughter of an official from Jiangnan province. She walked over gently, staring at Yang Xingxin, with a natural arrogance showing on her face. So, what Zhang Mengning said is not wrong. You are indeed a burden. In the past, everyone didn't abandon you for the sake of classmates, but you shouldn't be so ignorant. Are you abducting us morally, just because of your disability? It's pretty low-key to do that, really. With these 2 girls taking the lead, other people who had long been dissatisfied with Yang Xingxin, or those who simply wanted to see others die also began to criticize Yang Xingxin. Yang Xingxin is very beautiful, and suffers from polio. Coupled with the character design of a top hacker, it perfectly fits the setting of beauty, strength and misery. Therefore, in the past, her popularity in Azure Academy has always been very high, and many boys are eager to become her knights to protect her. This naturally made many girls feel jealous of her. At this time, the evil thoughts that had been suppressed for a long time were released together with everyone. Yang Xingxin, don't drag us down, okay? Really? If it wasn't for teacher Liang Yu's soft heart, I would have left you a long time ago. Please, can you just find a place to die by yourself? Yang Xingxin lowered her head and didn't refute a word, but the back of her fair hand had already shown blue veins due to too much force. Lu Karen stood in front of her alone, trying to argue for her. What have you done for Xingxin? I'm just taking care of her every time. Don't blame others for your desperation. Zhang Mengling pointed at Lu Karen and said sarcastically, Lu Karen, you are so pitiful. She is a wealthy lady with a prominent family, and you are just a student who has been admitted with special care. If it wasn't for her physical problems, would she be friends with you? I think she just wants to manipulate you and gain a sense of superiority from you. Don't be stupid. If she is fine, she won't talk to you. Lukiki said angrily. No way. Xingxin is not this kind of person. Yang Xingxin lowered her head and said nothing. However, a group of girls chattering around her made her very uncomfortable. It's so noisy, she whispered. But this sentence has long been buried in the quarrel among the crowd. Among the students, a delicate-looking girl with advanced wine-red hair suddenly came over. Everyone, stop arguing. At this time, we should all unite and help each other. As soon as the red-haired girl spoke, the tone of the other girls weakened a little. Because her family background belongs to the top class in the class, she herself is also the party secretary in the class. Her name is Shen Myaok. Shen Myaok looked at Yang Xingxin tenderly, lowered her head and said, Xingxin, you don't have to worry. Although you are in trouble now, all of us will not give up. I'm sure you won't blame us all, right? Let's continue to be good friends in the future. As she spoke, she smiled and stretched out her right hand to Yang Xingxin. Shen Myaok looked so gentle. She even stood up and spoke for Yang Xingxin, who was besieged by everyone. It's just her tone that always makes people feel a little uncomfortable. Yang Xingxin didn't reach out her hand. Shen Myaok waited for a while with a somewhat embarrassed expression. She tilted her head, trying to look directly into Yang Xingxin's eyes through Yang Xingxin's bangs. Could it be that you don't even want to shake hands with me? I've always been the one who cares about you the most. The students around are also looking forward to watching the show. Someone else said, Myaok, you are so kind. You are so kind to a useless person like her. Hey, Yang Xingxin, what do you mean? Myaok shakes hands with you. Don't be shameless. Cut. It's possible that the legs are disabled, and there is something wrong with the brain. The girls laughed at Yang Xingxin here, while the boys watched the excitement not far away, and had no intention of coming to help. In today's depressing environment, watching others being bullied can also give them a morbid pleasure. Yang Xingxin clenched her hands, and just as she raised her hand forward, a strange sound suddenly came from behind everyone. Clang. Everyone turned their heads subconsciously, and then heard an extremely shrill scream. The 3-meter-high metal window outside the gymnasium was pushed down, and a 5 to 6 meter long, black metal glowing paw stretched out from inside. That paw clasped Zheng Yunkang's head and lifted him up into the sky very easily. A strange big face appeared outside the gymnasium, with a sinister smile on the corner of its mouth. Meow Chapter 212. Zheng Yunkang's body was picked up like a doll. Her whole body was stiff, and blood was gradually oozing from her head. Before she could ask for help, she was quickly pulled out of the window. The huge black monster brought it in front of her, stretched out its scarlet tongue and licked it. The barbs on it immediately scraped her bloody, and her face disappeared. What? Shouts of terror erupted in the gymnasium. Everyone ran desperately to the back of the stadium. No one cared about Yang Xingxin anymore. Only Lu Karen was left pushing Yang Xingxin's wheelchair and running back. After a group of people gathered at the back door, they found that the door was blocked, and they couldn't open it, no matter how hard they tried. Damn it, it's frozen. Open it quickly, or we will all die here. A group of students peed anxiously on their pants, their faces pale. At this time, the black monster had already entered the gymnasium. Its huge body is more than 10 meters high, its whole body is pitch black and covered with blood, and the hair on its body is as sharp as steel needles. The entire gate was blocked tightly by it. It hugged Zheng Yunkang with its 2 paws, licked it with a smile for a while, and then bit off her head. PFFT blood gushed out like a fountain. What? A group of girls screamed in fright, covered their faces, and fell to the ground with weak legs. The boys tried everything to get the back door open. However, after being frozen for so long, the back door was already frozen to death, and it was still blocked by dozens of tons of snow and ice, making it impossible to open. The monster threw Zheng Yunkang's half body aside, then raised its tail, and walked towards the gym with a smile. It tilted its head, as if looking at the little mice in front of it. For some reason, everyone saw a playful look in its eyes. This made everyone's hair stand on end. The thing in front of them seemed to be a monster with wisdom. taking advantage of the opportunity of the teacher who protects them to find food, come and attack them. Dozens of students huddled in a corner of the stadium, facing the huge monster in front of them. They couldn't even summon up the courage to resist. At this moment, someone suddenly pushed Yang Xingxin, who was sitting in a wheelchair, forward. Yang Xingxin was caught off guard and fell to the front with her wheelchair. Sure enough, this caught the monster's attention, and it raised its paw and took 2 steps forward. Lu Karen shouted in fright, "Xingxin!" She wanted to save Yang Xingxin, but at this moment her legs were out of control, and she couldn't move at all. Seeing the black monster getting closer and closer to Yang Xingxin, he lowered his head and began to look at the little mouse on the ground. At this moment, the boys who just pushed Yang Xingxin ran out of the door. The head of the black monster turned slightly, and its amber eyes stared at them. There was a mocking smile on the corner of his mouth. Snapped. Before the 2 boys had time to run out, they slapped their big black paws to the ground one by one. Puff. The black monsters only used a little bit of strength, but this strength was not something their bodies could bear. The internal organs of both people were crushed, and a lot of blood spewed out of their mouths. But they didn't want to wait for death like this. They still desperately wanted to get up and run outside. They are all sons of prominent families. From the moment they were born, they were destined to be winners in this world. Their starting point is the end point that most people cannot reach in their lifetime. They will have the brightest future and enjoy all the good things in this world. How can you die in this place? The black monster also abandoned Yang Xingxin, who was lying on the ground motionless, turned around and walked towards them. It pulled with its big claws, and the claws sharper than steel knives pulled them back. A hole was cut in their body instantly, and blood spattered. At this time, the black cat turned its back to everyone. Lu Karen plucked up his courage and hurried over to help Yang Xingxin up. Wu Chenggai's eyes lit up, and he said in a low voice to a few good friends next to him, "I understand. This monster likes to attack moving objects." Just now Yang Xingxin lay on the ground and pretended to be dead, but escaped unharmed. A few boys next to him heard the words and suddenly realized. No wonder Li Yang and Zhao Kiki wanted to run, but they died the fastest. Then what should we do? Shall we lie down and pretend to be dead? A coldness flashed in Wu Chenggai's eyes. Lying down and pretending to be dead is unreliable. No one knows if this monster is playing with us. We have to do this. After discussing with a few people, he instigated the students around him. Quick, let's leave right away while the monster is attracting attention. Staying here is dead. Someone has to go out and call Teacher Liang back. Otherwise, everyone will die. Several people said such words, encouraging the students around them. Some people are timid and dare not do this. After all, if they want to go out, they must cross the black monster blocking the door. However, there are also a few simple ones who feel that it is better to try it than to wait for death. Let's charge together. It's impossible to kill everyone, right? It's not like waiting to die if you stay. Several boys had red eyes, and extreme anger was born under extreme fear, and this anger gave them courage. At this time, the monster was lowering its head, pawing and pulling the 2 struggling little mice in front of it with its big claws. Li Yang and Zhao Kiki were covered in blood, but they still did not give up hope of survival. They desperately wanted to crawl out the door while reaching out to other students for help. "Help me. Don't give up on me. I beg you." Wu Chenggaiu, Zhao ran. "Aren't we best brothers?" The monster didn't kill them directly, but squatted on the ground, watching them struggling desperately with a strange smile on their face. Then from time to time, he used his big paws to pull them twice, pulling them from side to side like wheels, and then from side to side. It's not like hunting prey, but like playing with 2 interesting toys. Several other boys took the opportunity to tiptoe around behind the monster, trying to take advantage of the loophole and run out. Faced with Li Yang and Zhao Kiki's calls for help, they turned a deaf ear to them. Li Yang and Zhao Kiki were desperate. They shouted viciously, "You don't want to live by yourself." While talking, they generally pointed to the people behind the monster. "Look there, they want to run. They want to run." The monster narrowed its eyes slightly, turned its head strangely, and turned 180 degrees to look behind it. The few boys who wanted to take the opportunity to run out were instantly stared at by it. The backs of several people felt cold, and they chose to quicken their pace and rush out on the verge of life and death. Snapped. 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 The big paw quickly slapped down 3 times in the air, and that movement looked extraordinarily graceful, without using much strength. But the 3 boys fell to the ground in an instant, their chests were shattered. Chapter 213 Tang Dao and the Female Warrior. The 3 people stopped by the monster glared at Li Yang and Zhao Kiki angrily. Brute. Li Yang and Zhao Kiki knew that they would not live long, so they laughed with blood dripping from their mouths. Don't even think about living. Don't even think about living. If we are going to die, we will die together. The monster got 7 cute little toys and suddenly became a little excited. Its big black tail was raised high and its big paws were scratching back and forth on the ground. And when the monster's attention was all attracted by these 2 groups of people, the 3 of Wu Chengyu, who had been preparing for a long time, rushed out and ran out of the gymnasium. Their faces are full of joy for the rest of their lives. A smug smile appeared on the corner of Wu Chengyu's mouth. I'm sorry, but it's better to die with everyone else. A few people next to him complimented. Chengyu, you are so smart. Let those guys go to attract the monster's attention first, and then we will run out. While several people were running desperately, Wu Chengyu explained to them, that thing I have long felt like a mutated cat. Cats are very playful. To catch prey, you have to play enough before eating, and unless you are very hungry, you will not have much interest in dead mice. Inside the gymnasium, the monster found a few little mice that had escaped. But it didn't care, after all the other little mice were here. The gym, like its breadbasket, is all you can eat. The other students huddled in the corner, seeing Wu Chengyu and the others escape. Their eyes were full of envy. Therefore, someone wanted to follow the example of Wu Chengyu and the others and sneak away. However, the monsters have already begun to pay attention, so it is naturally impossible to let them do what they want. Crack, crack. There were 2 crisp sounds, obviously louder than the previous one. The monster seemed to be a little tired of playing, so they no longer keep their lives. After lifting the big black claws, only 2 bloody bodies remained on the ground. Several female students screamed in pain, clutching their heads and almost collapsing. At this moment, an angry shout came, "Damn monster, don't hurt my students." Hearing this voice, hope appeared in the eyes of the students who were originally desperate. Ms. Liang, Mr. Liang is back. At the entrance of the gymnasium, a tall woman with a high ponytail appeared. Holding a simple and sharp tang knife in her right hand, she slashed at the monster. Where the blade passed, there was a strange fluctuation, and even the blade had a faint blue luster. This knife full of anger was so fast that it was dazzling, and the danger contained in the blade made the black monster unwilling to touch it. Meow, it let out a piercing cry and quickly dodged to the side. When Liang Yu saw a pile of corpses on the ground, her eyes were very sad. But seeing the students huddled in a corner of the gymnasium again, after weighing the pros and cons, she did not choose to fight the monster here. Liang Yu's body slowly moved towards the inside of the gymnasium, giving way to the direction of the gate. The monster understood what Liang Yu meant, and a strange smile appeared on the corner of its mouth. Then, it lowered its head and bit the corpse of a student. The huge body, but extremely flexible, disappeared outside the gymnasium. Holding a knife in both hands, Liang Yu cautiously walked outside step by step. But when I went outside, I could no longer see the monster's body, only the crisscrossed ice and snow tunnels it drilled out of the snow. Liang Yu breathed a long sigh of relief, and at the same time felt indescribably exhausted. How long can she protect her students by always playing cat and mouse like this? In more than a month, most of the students around me died. Perhaps one day, everyone will die here, and she is no exception. Liang Yu put the tang saber back into the scabbard. Shen Miaoke, secretary of the youth league, came over and said weakly, "Teacher Liang." Their eyes looked at a snakerskin bag under Liang Yu's feet. Liang Yu said softly, "Share the food with everyone." After finishing speaking, she found a corner, held Tang Dao in her arms, closed her eyes, and began to rest. She is so tired. After the end of the world, most of the people in the school died. He didn't die under the cold snow disaster, but died in the hands of that monster. If it wasn't for Liang Yu's high level of strength and the awakening of supernatural powers, she would definitely become a delicious meal for that monster now. However, she has to protect so many students, and she has to be on guard against monsters that may attack at any time, and she is already exhausted physically and mentally. Shen Maoke took the food back with a few girls and distributed it to the surviving students. Soon after, the three of Wu Chenggai also came back, pretending to be nonchalant, and went to get some food first. As for what they encouraged their classmates to die, it seemed that it never happened. At this moment, Zhang Mengning, who had stood up and reprimanded Yang Xingxin, suddenly went crazy. Zheng Yunkang is her best girlfriend, and the two have been playmates since childhood. Zheng Yunkang's death at this time greatly stimulated her. She ran over and scolded Yang Xingxin. "Why are you still alive when everyone is dead? You are the most damned person. Why? Why don't you die?" Yang Xingxin still didn't say anything. What is there to explain? If you want to add a crime, there is nothing wrong with it. Lu Karen was indignant. "Zhang Mengning, are you being reasonable? Can Xingxin be blamed for this?" Zhang Mengning stomped her feet and scolded while crying. "I just don't like her." Shen Maoke persuaded Zhang Mengning, "Don't act like this." As she spoke, she took out a piece of food and handed it to Yang Xingxin. "Xingxin, eat something." Seeing this, Zhang Mengning knocked the food over on the ground. She said viciously, "Don't waste food on her. The food in the school warehouse is limited. Her disability will be eaten sooner or later. It's better to save the food for useful people to eat." Liang Yu, the teacher with closed eyes, slowly opened them. Seeing such conflicts among the students, she slowly closed her eyes helplessly. She was so tired, and this kind of thing happened almost every day. Every day, some people will go crazy, and some people will quarrel, or even fight, because they cannot bear the huge pressure. She no longer has the extra energy to take care of these things, and must use all her energy to fight against that elusive monster. As long as the students don't make trouble to kill, she won't bother. Zhang Mengning was still making noise there, only her scolding at the top of her lungs in the gymnasium. In the corner, a girl sitting on a gymnastics mat covered her head and said with broken eyes, "It's useless, it's useless. No matter how much you argue, it's useless. We are all going to die. We are all going to be eaten by that monster. You still don't understand? We are all the food it raised on purpose. The reason we can live until now is because it likes to eat alive." Chapter 214 Mutant Creatures. What this girl said made everyone feel creepy. Indeed, every time that monster appeared, it would select a few people to kill, never killing too many people. It's like raising a group of chickens and ducks, and then pick out a few to kill when you want to eat them. There is no hope anymore. The girl yelled in dismay. There will be no rescue or anything. This world is over. At this time, the squad leader Wu Chenggai gritted his teeth and said, there will be. We are the elites of this society. We are destined to be high and achieve extraordinary things in the future. How could we die here? He raised his head and looked towards the sky, which had been closed by thick ice and snow. As long as I can leave here and get in touch with the outside world, my father will definitely bring someone over to save me. But how to leave here and go to the ice surface is a major problem. Liang Yu's strength is very strong. As a special teacher of Shine King Academy, she used to be a martial arts master of Hua Guoying's level, and even served as a personal bodyguard for the wife of a high-level leader. Now that the power has been awakened, the strength is even more powerful. But no matter how powerful she is, she still doesn't have the ability to fight against that mutated monster while leading a large group of oil bottles. Zhang Yi, Fatty Zhu, and Uncle Yu followed the navigation and finally arrived at the former site of Shine King College after more than an hour. After coming here, there is only a vast expanse of whiteness left between the sky and the earth. Fortunately, there is a small mountain near Shine King College, which can be used as a reference, so as not to be unable to confirm the direction. When the three got out of the car, Zhang Yi held the pistol in his hand and said to the other two, be careful around, be careful of danger. Fatty Zhu swallowed his saliva and retreated involuntarily, but Uncle Yu stood in front of the three of them without hesitation. Not only because he has the strongest physique, but as a soldier and the elder among the three, he feels that it is only natural for him to protect Zhang Yi and Fatty Zhu. But looking at the vast white snowfield in front of him, Uncle Yu also felt a little troubled. However, this place is covered by snow. How can we confirm where the person you want to save is? Zhang Yi took out his mobile phone and wanted to contact Yang Xingxin to confirm. but the mobile phone can't dial the other party's number at all. My mobile phone signal is a bit weak. Zhang Yi was also very helpless. Let's look for it, everyone. This school has a large area, and there must be high-rise buildings exposed. There is the structure of the school on the map. As long as you find a building, you can figure out the approximate location of Yangzingxin. Fatty Zhu showed a bitter face. This kind of noble school has a huge area. I heard that there is even a golf course inside. Zhang Yi nodded. This school has an area of 3000 mu. Let's drive slowly to find it, and there is no need to be too anxious. If they didn't have a car, they would have to find the year of the monkey. Uncle Yu said, then let's look for it separately. It will be faster this way. Zhang Yi shook his head. It's not necessary. For safety's sake, everyone should act together. It's okay to be slow. The key is to be steady. Uncle Yu smiled and nodded in agreement with Zhang Yi's statement. So the three got into the car and began to look for traces of high-rise buildings nearby. Sure enough, after a while they saw some pointed buildings. There is a tall tower ahead. Go and have a look. Zhang Yi and Fatty Zhu got out of the car and walked over to check. Compared with the drawings found on the internet, Zhang Yi confirmed that this is the astronomy center of Shanqing College. The astronomical center is located in the southeast, which is the front area of the campus. The student dormitory and cafeteria are located in the north, which is far away. Zhang Yi looked at the phone, thinking carefully. Fatty Zhu said, is it possible that they are hiding in the classroom or in an open place like the gymnasium? After all, if you are moving below the snow surface, you must have a larger space, otherwise the oxygen concentration will not be enough. You also have to consider the risk of the snow layer above your head collapsing. Zhang Yi frowned slightly and said, it's hard to say. This campus is very large. We can only pick the most likely area to search. The first is the dormitory and the canteen. These two places are the most likely. After all, there are clothes, beds, and food. Secondly, there are gymnasiums and various teaching buildings. Zhang Yi carefully analyzed the possible position of Yangzingxin. And Fatty Zhu and Uncle Yu were not idle either. They came to the top of the observatory and began to try to find the entrance. This is easy for Fatty Zhu. Using his ability, he manipulated the ice and snow on the ground to scatter around, revealing a space 4 or 5 meters below. The observatory's spire also gradually grew larger, revealing the windows below. Zhang Yi, you can go in here. Fatty Zhu said happily. Zhang Yi replied disapprovingly, what's the use of going down here? We are not here to collect astronomical telescopes. Fatty Zhu, he thought he would be praised, but who knew that Zhang Yi would not buy it? His expression immediately became depressed. Zhang Yi raised his head and changed his tone. However, the professional astronomical equipment inside may be collected and used in the future. A professional-grade astronomical telescope may be used to scout the enemy's situation in the future. Anyway, they are here, and good things are not in vain. Zhu Chunlu's confidence increased greatly, so he and Uncle Yu jumped in along the window and made something out. At this moment, Zhang Yi's back suddenly felt like a glow on his back, which made his hair stand on end. That's what it feels like to be stared at by a beast. Zhang Yi immediately turned around, put on a fighting posture, and pointed the guns in both hands straight ahead. And when he saw clearly what was in front of him, he couldn't help but constrict his pupils. On the vast expanse of white snow, a huge black monster lay quietly on the snow, its eyes fixed on it. The body lying on the snow seemed to be ready to pounce forward at any moment. Since half of its body was in the snow, Zhang Yi couldn't judge its size. But Zhang Yi visited the dinosaur museum. Just looking at the head of this monster is about the same size as that of Tyrannosaurus Rex. With a pitch black body, the hair all over his body was like steel needles, and his amber pupils stared at him with a bit of weird playfulness. Mutated creature. This term immediately appeared in Zhang Yi's mind. If you guessed correctly, it was the source of the voice heard by Yangzingxin during the call. Zhang Yi watched it vigilantly, waiting for its attack at any time. But to his surprise, the monster just stared at him like this, without any intention of attacking. Okay. Zhang Yi frowned slightly, feeling that things were not that simple. Wild beasts will attack as soon as they get the chance. Just now Zhang Yi turned his back to it, but it didn't attack. Even though the man and the beast were facing each other at this time, he only felt the strangeness from the monster's body, but he didn't feel the bloodthirsty killing intent. What exactly is going on? Chapter 215 Passage in the Snow. Zhang Yi was taken aback by the sudden appearance of a huge monster, but soon he adjusted his mentality. After all, he has experienced life and death many times, and his mentality has long been as hard as iron. However, he unexpectedly discovered that the monster was not hostile to him. Just as Zhang Yi was thinking about how to deal with it, Fatty Zhu and Uncle Yu climbed up from the snowdrift and wanted to ask Zhang Yi for some ropes to climb down. Their appearance attracted the eyes of monsters. When Fatty Zhu saw such a big strange thing, he was so frightened that he yelled wow. Instinctively, he swung his right hand forward and activated his ability. The sky full of ice and snow was dug up from the snow and then swept towards the monster. Zhang Yi immediately shouted, "No!" But it was too late for him to speak. The snow was Fatty Zhu's home field, and he only needed one thought to launch an attack. Blizzard surged from the ground, mixed with a lot of thick ice, and smashed towards the black monster. The monster crawling quietly in the snow, let out a piercing scream, and then moved across the white snow like lightning. So fast. Zhang Yi's pupils shrank suddenly. The black monster's body was huge, but it moved on the soft snow without slowing down at all. It could even be said to be as fast as lightning. After dodging the ice and snow attack easily, it rushed towards Fatty Zhu. The speed of the beast is really not comparable to that of humans. Without hesitation, Zhang Yi directly covered his whole body with supernatural powers. Double speed. Through the blessing of the space system ability, his speed can be doubled. Only in this way can he deal with the monster's attack. Seeing that the black monster had already rushed in front of Fatty Zhu, Zhang Yi held the gun in both hands and shot quickly. Bang, 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 bang. The bullet shells crashed to the ground. Zhang Yi didn't dare to save the bullets. The speed of the black monster is very fast, but under the ability of double speed, Zhang Yi quickly aimed at it. The armor-piercing projectile hit it, and sparks flew everywhere. A few of the hard hairs were broken, its movement slowed down, and it made an even more angry cry, but it didn't look like it was seriously injured. Zhang Yi couldn't help but gasped. This is an armor-piercing projectile. It just broke its fur. Taking advantage of this gap, Uncle Yu also rushed over. Standing in front of Fatty Zhu, his muscles quickly bulged, and even his head grew tens of centimeters taller, turning into a burly man with a height of 2 meters. His bronzed skin turned a stone-like yellow, and he punched the huge monster. Boom. This punch just hit the monster's face, and the powerful attack caused a huge depression in the snow under Uncle Yu's feet, and the ice and snow splashed out. The monster's face was twisted almost 90 degrees, and its huge body couldn't help but staggered back a few steps. Meow, the monster's pupils constricted, and it let out an extremely angry roar. Zhang Yi felt that the voice must be a cat. Is it a cat? Or the ligers, tigers, and leopards that escaped from the zoo? Either way, it's extremely dangerous. Because cats have almost no opponents under the same size, except for ferrets. Without hesitation, he put away his pistol and replaced it with a big sniper. To deal with this thing, the power of a pistol is not enough at all. It must be a sniper rifle. Although the charging sniper's gamma play is not as flexible as a pistol, Zhang Yi's ability can hit the target without precise aiming. In the eyes of the black monster, there are 3 people in front of him. The rough-skinned and thick-skinned Uncle Yu was with Zhu Chunlei, while Zhang Yi was alone a dozen meters away. It naturally chose to rush towards Zhang Yi and decided to kill one first. Zhang Yi quickly raised his gun and fired. Boom. The roar of the big gun is deafening, and the bullets wrapped in supernatural powers make this power even better. The black monster sensed the danger and quickly dodged it, but no matter how fast it was, it couldn't be faster than the sniper bullets blessed by supernatural powers. Snapped. It was shot in the cheek, and the 2 rows of steel needles were directly shattered, blood spattering. The black monster was furious, and suddenly curled up on the snow, turning into a big ball covered in steel thorns, rolling towards Zhang Yi. Minima. Zhang Yi never thought that this monster would play like this. Boom. The huge thorn ball rolled towards Zhang Yi, causing deep cracks in the snow. Zhang Yi's speed is absolutely unavoidable, but he had no reason to run away. The gate of the dimension, open. Zhang Yi opened the door of the same direction and different space directly in front of him. Although he is interested in offense, defense is his forte. As long as you enter a different space, no matter what kind of creature you are, you will be bound by the static world, and you will suffer slowly until you die. Meow. The black monster sensed a dangerous aura. Creatures are far more aware of crisis than humans. The huge thorn bull made a sharp turn in the air, and then rushed hundreds of meters away. Fuck, what a pity. Zhang Yi almost caught this guy. He also wanted to study how this mutant creature was different from mutant humans. Zhu Chunli and Uncle Yu hurried over and stood with Zhang Yi, staring cautiously at the black monster. Zhang Yi also pointed the sniper rifle in his hand at it. But Zhang Yi didn't shoot, and the black monster screamed twice in this direction. The voice was so unpleasant that the three of them wanted to cover their ears tightly. It seems to be cursing, and the scolding is very ugly. Speechless expressions appeared on the faces of several people. The black monster didn't attack again, and it also realized that the three people in front of it were not easy to mess with. So it retreated step by step cautiously, then suddenly turned around and ran back. Not long after, it suddenly disappeared into the snow. Huh? Where did it go? Uncle Yu was dumbfounded. Such a big monster suddenly disappeared in front of his eyes? Fatty Zhu said in astonishment. Could it be that it also has the ability of the space system? Zhang Yi slowly put down the gun in his hand and said, it doesn't seem like it. If it has this ability, it should have been used just now. Zhang Yi is very impressed with the changes in the space. He can feel that the guy has already run away. Several people walked carefully to the place where the black monster disappeared. Sure enough, they found a huge cave in the snow, leading to the depths of the snow. It turns out there is a hole in the ground. Uncle Yu said, with this thing nearby, it may be very troublesome for us to find someone. Fatty Zhu crossed his arms and looked serious. But, if this monster is around all the time, there shouldn't be any living people in the school. Brother Zhang, is the information you got really accurate? Chapter 216. Fatty Zhu's suspicion was not unreasonable. Not to mention ordinary people. Even he was almost instantly killed by that black monster without adequate preparation. And judging by that size, the amount of food needed is also huge, at least dozens of times that of ordinary people. Apart from eating people in the school, Fatty Zhu couldn't imagine how it survived till now. But Zhang Yi didn't think so. There is one thing you just didn't discover. This guy didn't want to hurt us in the first place. Zhang Yi looked at Fatty Zhu. If you hadn't attacked it suddenly and angered it, maybe it wouldn't have ended in this way now. Fatty Zhu looked confused. Did I provoke it? But, he was terrified at the time. Zhang Yi recalled the look in the monster's eyes, and always felt that it had a kind of spirituality, not like a monster that had completely lost its mind and only knew how to hunt. The mutation may increase its intelligence to a very high level, not even weaker than humans. And that call, I did hear Yang Xingxin's voice. It can't be a monster. He walked up to the huge burrow and looked down. The burrow is very large. Even if you drive a car, there is no problem. And if the monster needs to pass through, the hole drill just brings in the circulating air. This may be the reason why they were not suffocated to death. Zhang Yi thought for a long time before making a decision. Come on, let's go down here and take a look. What? Go down from here? Fatty Zhu was taken aback. What if we encounter that monster again? The bottom is its territory. Zhang Yi took a deep look at Fatty Zhu. Would you like to think again about what you're talking about? Fatty Zhu was a little overwhelmed by Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi took a deep breath helplessly. Did you forget what your abilities are? UF*CKING ice and snow ability user are afraid of fighting in the snow. Fatty Zhu suddenly realized. Yes. Based on his ability, the more ice and snow there is, the stronger his combat effectiveness will be. Even if it was deep into the snow, if that monster dared to attack, it would be buried alive by Fatty Zhu with tens of thousands of tons of snow within minutes. Fatty Zhu scratched his head in embarrassment. I was a little scared and stupid just now. Zhang Yi didn't criticize him anymore. Among the three of them, Fatty Zhu had the least actual combat experience, and he was also the youngest in terms of courage. The more battles he experiences in the future, the stronger he will become. The strength of abilities is not an absolute factor in determining combat effectiveness. brain, guts, and even luck are all important components of strength. With Zhu Chunlai's ability as the base, Zhang Yi's absolute defense, and Uncle Yu as a solid human shield, they were not afraid to meet that monster underground. Zhang Yi brought the two snowmobiles into the different space, and the three of them jumped down along the cave made by the monster. After falling to the ground, I realized that the world under the snow extends in all directions. This is the monster's territory, and it has already opened up many passages, but it is a bit dark. Zhang Yi took out the miner's lamp, turned it on, and instantly illuminated a distance of hundreds of meters in front of him. Now, even if the monster wanted to take advantage of the darkness to attack suddenly, it couldn't do it. Zhang Yi took out 2 boxes of colored pens from the different space, and said, "We use this thing to mark, so that we won't get lost underground. But we can't find our way underground. What should we do?" Zhu Chunlai asked. Uncle Yu sniffed and said cautiously, "There is a strong smell of blood in the air." Fatty Zhu immediately said, "It should be on that monster. I don't know how many people it has eaten. We have to go to the passage with less bloody smell." Looking at the timid fat man, Zhang Yi rolled his eyes helplessly. "The three of us are all here, and the snowfield is your home field. Can you be more courageous? If you really meant it, it would be the one who ran away." While Zhang Yi was talking, he took out a golden pistol from the different space and started to stuff the bullets into the magazine in a leisurely manner. Uncle Yu recognized the gun type at a glance. Golden Sand Eagle. "Good," Zhang Yi said lightly. "Desert Eagle, one of the most powerful pistols in the world. In terms of lethality, it is 10 times the police pistol he used before. To put it bluntly, even the famous AK rifle is not as powerful as its kinetic energy. The disadvantage is that it is heavy and has a strong recoil, and ordinary people cannot control it. With it and armor-piercing bullets, if you encounter that monster head-on, it can also cause a lot of damage." Zhang Yi loaded the bullet directly, and said to Uncle Yu, "Uncle Yu, your reconnaissance ability is relatively strong. Let's follow the direction of that monster. If it wants to eat, it will definitely chase the direction of the living person. As long as we follow it, we will be able to find the location of the living person." Fatty Zhu was still a little scared. The power of the ability did not make him more courageous. If you encounter it, it's not good. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes. "What are you afraid of? We are here. If you encounter it, just trap it with ice and snow. It's honestly okay. Once it assists and attacks us, kill it." Hearing Zhang Yi's confident words, Fatty Zhu suddenly felt at ease in his heart. It's great to have such a big brother with him. "Well, good boss." Uncle Yu led the way with the smell of blood, and every 3 or 4 meters Zhang Yi walked, he would stuff the colored pens into the snow wall, leaving only a small tail. This prevents the mark from being discovered by monsters and thus destroyed. Xian King Academy Gymnasium. Teacher Liang Yu has been here for 3 days with more than 40 surviving students. The last time I looked for food was also 3 days ago. In other words, everyone in the gym is starving. For Liang Yu, she was caught in a huge dilemma at this time. The monsters are all around, and as long as they show any weakness, it will kill the students for food. Liang Yu couldn't leave the students, and searched for food alone. But letting others go is tantamount to letting them die. Ordinary people would be eaten up in less than a minute when faced with that kind of mutant. If the students were to hide in a closed room, in terms of the thin air under the snow, they would suffocate to death if they were not killed by monsters. Liang Yu has the strength to deal with monsters, but she can't take the students to search for supplies. They have tried this before. As a result, the monster ignored her and directly charged the student team, causing heavy casualties. Now, she is guarding the entrance of the gymnasium holding a tang knife. For 3 days, the monster did not attack again, but the martial artist told her directly that the monster was nearby. It can't go on like this. Liang Yu opened her eyes, and a tired look flashed in the depths of her eyes. For 3 days in a row, she only ate a little food, and the hunger in her belly made her restless and anxious. If this continues, some of them will starve to death without waiting for the monster to make a move. Liang Yu wants to protect all students, which is her accusation as a teacher and special bodyguard. But the reality is so cruel, forcing you to make sacrifices. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217 Meditation. Liang Yu clenched the tang knife in her hand. Although the feeling of hunger is very uncomfortable, it can also make people burst out with amazing strength, which is the instinct of survival. In the gymnasium, the faces of the students were filled with numbness and madness. For more than a month, they have experienced the death of people around them, and the threat of death all the time, and their spirits have more or less mental problems. Last night, a girl hanged herself on the basketball hoop, while no one was paying attention. But when everyone saw this scene the next day, no one cried, and they were still unreasonably calm. Liang Yu knew that things couldn't go on like this. As the only teacher in the team, she had to help these children fight for a future. When Liang Yu was thinking, class leader Wu Chengaiyu and group secretary Shen Miok walked over. Teacher Liang. Wu Chengaiyu spoke. Liang Yu looked up at them. Wu Chengaiyu said, should I go out and find some food? If this continues, we will starve to death. Shen Miok put her hands in front of her body, clasped her fingers, with a compassionate expression. You are our only hope. If you have been resting here and not looking for food, what will everyone do? A look of astonishment flashed across Liang Yu's face. She looked at the two class cadres. Wu Chengaiyu and Shen Miok both looked away, with a little dissatisfaction in their eyes. Liang Yu understood instantly. They thought that she didn't go out to look for food for several days because she was afraid of encountering monsters and death. Is that why you came here and asked her to fulfill her responsibility as a teacher? Liang Yu took a deep breath. I'm a teacher and should not be angry with students. She reminded herself like this in her heart and then said to the two, if I leave, what if the monster comes to attack you again? Shen Miok still frowned. So, Teacher Liang, you must move faster when you go out this time. Hurry up and come here. Wu Chengaiyu coughed and said lightly, Mr. Liang, you don't have to worry about this problem. We will try our best to protect the students. He looked at Liang Yu in front of him, feeling a little disdainful in his heart. When is this, and you still want to protect everyone? I really don't know whether to call you straightforward or stupid. But fortunately you are such a person, otherwise, maybe I would have died long ago. Well, you can still be useful, but your brain is not working. Then obediently listen to the words of a smart person like me. Anyway, even if a monster comes, I'll just push out a few to replace the dead ghosts. Shen Miok clasped her hands together and said with a pleading face, Teacher Liang please. The safety of all of us depends on you alone. Liang Yu took a deep look at the two students in front of her. She didn't speak, but supported the ground with the tang knife in her hand and stood up slowly. At this time, she said, okay, I'll go out now. Take care of your own safety. Wu Chengaiyu and Shen Miok naturally agreed wholeheartedly. It took more than a month for Wu Chengaiyu to figure out the monster's habits. It likes to play with its prey and has the habit of storing food points, so it only kills a few students at a time, not too many. In fact, Wu Chengaiyu had already selected several cannon fodder. If the monster really comes, push those guys out to delay time. Then it will be safe to wait for Liang Yu to come back. Holding the Tang Dao, Liang Yu opened the gate of the gymnasium and walked into the ice and snow corridor. The door behind them was quickly closed by several students. Liang Yu exhaled a puff of white smoke lightly, glanced at the end of the ice and snow corridor, then flicked her long ponytail and walked towards the cafeteria. She didn't go far, but quickly hid in a corner of the ice and snow passage. After walking more than 100 steps, leaning her back against the wall, Liang Yu slowly closed her eyes and entered a state of meditation. Meditation is not some magical ability. Even ordinary people can master this ability through the guidance of a special person, so that their mood becomes peaceful. It is a compulsory course for every martial artist, and it allows people to get rid of distracting thoughts and contemplate themselves. According to the legend, in ancient times, the top masters of martial arts who entered the realm of transformation could enter the mysterious and mysterious inner world through meditation. Although Liang Yu has not reached such a state as the top master of Huago martial arts, it is still possible to calm down and restrain her breath. She can't afford it anymore. Instead of waiting for the monsters to kill the students one by one, it is better to give it a go. Between you and me, only one can survive. Or, we both die together. Liang Yu already had the consciousness of death in her heart. When necessary, she will die with that black monster. She can die, but as a martial artist, as a teacher's dignity, she must protect her students. Liang Yu had a good idea, but she forgot that, as natural hunters, cats are better at hiding their breath. In the gymnasium, after Liang Yu left, everyone subconsciously moved closer to the corner of the gymnasium. Yang Xingxin was sitting in a wheelchair, still looking as fragile as a crystal rose. Lu Karen squatted down, reached out and gently touched her legs and arms. Does it still hurt? A few days ago, Yang Xingxin was used as bait and pushed out to lure the monster. Fortunately, the monster was more interested in moving creatures, so she survived. But that hard fall also injured her, with bruises on her arms and knees. Yang Xingxin looked at her only friend with a pale smile on her face. I'm fine. I can't feel any pain anymore, because of the cold. Seeing Yang Xingxin smiling, Lu Karen relaxed a little. Don't give up hope, we still have to live well. Right? Yang Xingxin nodded, and said with a firm gaze, yes, we will definitely survive. The two of us will definitely live a good life. A maniacal sarcasm came from around him. Zhang Mengning looked at the two of them with a ferocious face. What a daydream. Do you think that good luck will always favor you? A disability. So what if you can live? You can't do anything. It will only be a huge burden. If I were you, I would commit suicide. Not to mention the pain of my own life, but also to implicate others. The other students also looked at Yang Xingxin with weird smiles on their faces. They don't think it's fair. They are all able-bodied themselves, and it is reasonable to survive. Why should a disabled person deserve to enjoy the same right to live as they do? What's the point of persevering so hard? Next time, when the monster appears again, you won't be so lucky. Yang Xingxin did not refute. She was not a girl who was good at arguing with others, except on the internet. Lu Karen couldn't stand it anymore, and wanted to speak up for Yang Xingxin. At this time, she raised her head, and suddenly saw a touch of amber appearing in the opposite window. That is a huge eyeball. Chapter 218. Run. Lu Karen screamed in fright. The black monster appeared silently outside the gymnasium. If they hadn't seen it, no one would have noticed it. They have never been able to understand why such a huge monster can move silently. Run. Where to run? When everyone came back to their senses and fled around screaming, the monster's claws easily broke through the windows reinforced by them and pulled in. 5 or 6 meters long monster arms, sharp claws like sharp steel knives, and the hair on them are sharp steel thorns. Its big paw stretched in, and it was a meal inside. I dig it out, I dig it out, I dig it out again. If it is not facing life and death, from the perspective of an outsider, I think it is a bit cute. There was a weird smile in its eyes, and its movements were like a cat poking out its little paws from a cardboard box to play with its owner. However, when such a huge cat treats a group of hopeless humans as mice, it will not make people feel funny. Whoa. The blade-like sharp claws quickly slashed across, and several people's bodies were cut open with long openings, and the contents flowed out on the spot. The hell-like screams are even more permeating, especially when these voices come from his classmates. Although Wu Chengaiyu and the others were afraid in their hearts, they had already made preparations. They had been hiding behind, but at this time, in order to protect themselves, they grabbed a few unlucky ones and pushed them forward. If one is not enough, another one will be added, and if 2 are not enough, 2 more will be added. A few of them are tall and powerful, and they are all students with better physical fitness in the class. Even if the other students discovered their demonic behavior, they couldn't do anything other than scold them. At this time, it was Lu Karen who pushed Yang Xingxin and ran the fastest. It has to be said that having a wheelchair has become an advantage for their survival. But at this time, Liang Yu, who had been hiding her breath in secret and waiting for an opportunity, seized the opportunity and finally moved. A faint blue smoke slowly escaped from her body. She held the scabbard with her left hand and the handle with her right hand. With a loud shout, she had already killed the black monster like lightning. Who? The white sword light streaked across the air, aimed at the monster's neck, and fell down. In this battle, Liang Yu has burned all his strength. This is a desperate battle. If she wins, it will be a miserable victory, but she and the students can live. If she loses, she dies first. The monster was happily playing with the students and was not prepared for Liang Yu's sudden attack. When she approached, the black hair all over her body exploded like a hedgehog, and each hair was a hard steel nail. Meow, the shrill roar made people's eardrums almost be pierced. The reaction speed of cats is indeed very fast, but in the moment, when there is no time, Liang Yu's reunion is equally fast. The light of the knife flashed, and a large piece of hair was chopped off and fell to the ground with a jingle. PFFT. A gash more than 1 meter long appeared on the monster's neck, and blood spattered. The monster suffered from pain, quickly retreated, and at the same time, let out a furious roar. Liang Yu had already given up on defense and fought against the monster in a desperate manner. The monster stepped back 10 meters, but her figure approached close to her body like a ghost, and the knife light slashed down in the air. From Liang Yu's gaze, the monster also sensed that this woman must die. Meow, its roar became even more horrific, and it had to start a defensive counterattack. The attack power of Liang Yu's Tang Dao is extremely astonishing. She practiced killing skills, whether it was Chinese martial arts, Jiu, Krav Maga or Muay Thai. One person is proficient in more than 300 kinds of martial arts, learning hundreds of techniques, only to pursue the most powerful fighting skills. No fancy, only attack and kill. One person and one monster, fighting outside in the dark. The snow wall collapsed, and all the cuts on the wall were terrifying cracks. The students in the gymnasium were too frightened to move when they heard the terrible movement outside. Laugh, laugh. They saw cracks appearing on the wall one after another. Some were cut by knives, and some were scratched by monster claws that were as sharp as knives. They can't do anything now. They can only secretly pray for teacher Liang Yu's victory in their hearts. That is their only hope of survival. Just as Liang Yu and the black monster were fighting fiercely, the three of Zhang Yi followed their movements and finally found the exit. The appearance of Zhang Yi, Uncle Yu, and Fatty Zhu immediately attracted the attention of one of them. Liang Yu, I've never seen them before, not the other survivors in the school. They must have come from the outside world. There was hope in her eyes. Someone from the outside world must have come to rescue them. After all, the students in this school are either rich or noble, and their parents are people with power, status and wealth. She shouted to Zhang Yi and the others, "Quick, come and help me deal with this monster." When Fatty Zhu heard this, he immediately raised his hand to make a move, but his hand was held down by Zhang Yi. "Brother Zhang." Fatty Zhu looked at Zhang Yi in confusion. In the battle between humans and monsters, he thought that the three of them should help humans as a matter of course. So Fatty Zhu didn't understand why Zhang Yi stopped him. Wait a minute. Zhang Yi stared intently at the woman in front of him. What a sharp knife. If he hadn't practiced martial arts since he was a child and practiced the art of killing hard, he wouldn't be able to possess this kind of fighting skills. The woman in front of me is different from the so-called master who hits lightning 5 times in a row on TV. She is a real master. The most important thing is that her terrifying strength and speed are obviously not ordinary people. Another alien, and a very powerful alien. Zhang Yi couldn't tell whether she was an enemy or a friend. The point is, he came here to find someone, not to save someone who was not related to him. That huge black monster was also very powerful. If he made a rash move, the three of them might be at risk. There is no need for this. So Zhang Yi said coldly, "You don't need to do anything. It's not difficult to deal with her. Let's go. Let's save her." Zhang Yi said, and walked towards the gymnasium. Fatty Zhu froze for a moment, scratched his head, and felt that what Zhang Yi said made sense. He also saw that the other party was young and beautiful, so he subconsciously wanted to help. But when you think about it carefully, he doesn't know that woman well. If he rashly goes up to help, someone will say, "I know what you are thinking. I have a boyfriend." How embarrassing is that? I still don't want to be the man with the shrimp head in people's mouth. Fatty Zhu ignored Liang Yu's plea for help and followed Zhang Yi away. When Uncle Yu saw Liang Yu's sword skills, he was also a little afraid. He had been trained in the army and knew how to do a set of military boxing, but when he saw Liang Yu, he felt that the two were right, and he must be the one who fell. This is a dangerous woman. It's better to keep a distance. Uncle Yu is kind, but he is not the Holy Mother. Seeing that Liang Yu's life is not in danger, he decides to go with Zhang Yi to find someone. Liang Yu was shocked. Did these 3 people just ignore her like that? And these 3 people want to enter the gymnasium. Don't know what to do to her students. What are you going to do? Liang Yu shouted anxiously. But now she has no energy to be distracted. She must deal with the huge monster in front of her with all her strength. She could only watch Zhang Yi and the others break into the gymnasium. Chapter 219 Paralyzed Girl. Boom. The door of the gymnasium was pushed open violently, and the equipment blocking the door couldn't stop the humanoid titan Liu at all. Zhang Yi stepped in and glanced at the crowd in the gymnasium. The students were so frightened that they almost screamed, but after seeing 3 humans coming in, they felt more at ease. Zhang Yi quickly found the girl in the wheelchair. He saw Yang Xingxin's photo and recognized her. Fortunately, you are still alive. Zhang Yi breathed a sigh of relief. If she died before she persisted, his efforts would be in vain. Zhang Yi stepped forward. At this time, Wu Chengaiyu straightened his hair and straightened his blue custom-made school uniform and came over. Are you here from the Zishan base? Is it my father's order? Zishan base? What is that place? Zhang Yi frowned slightly. It was the first time he had heard of this name. Seeing that they were fully armed, Wu Chengaiyu regarded them as armed personnel in the refuge organization. With his hands behind his back, he smiled slightly. My name is Wu Chengaiyu, and my father is Wu Changxing, director of the CZ Bureau of Xianhe City. I think you should be familiar with his name. To be honest, Wu Chengaiyu looked a little funny. Although his hairstyle cost 10,000 plus, the privately made school uniform on his body is also worth a lot. But it's been more than a month in the last days, and he hasn't taken a shower or washed his clothes. He may look a little better than a beggar. He even ran here to put out the score of Brother Young Master, which really made people laugh. Zhang Yi asked with a smile, are you familiar with the Zishan organization? He wanted to get some information about the Zishan organization. Wu Chengaiyu was stunned for a moment, and he looked at the 3 people in front of him in astonishment. Aren't you from Zishan? That means people from other shelters. Strange, this place is the closest to Zishan, so there is no reason for you to come here. Other shelters? In other words, are there multiple shelters in Xianhe City? Zhang Yi heard that there are hundreds of emergency shelters in Xianhe City, but it is obviously not the kind Wu Chengaiyu said. Immediately, he thought of Zhang Dada and Kzian saying similar words when he just went to Young Manor. He secretly thought, it seems that there are indeed higher level shelters in Xianhe City, and at least there are more than one. Zhang Yi said calmly, how much do you know about the refuge? Wu Chengaiyu sensed that something was wrong. If these people came to save themselves, they shouldn't ask so many questions. Aren't you from the refuge? To be honest, I don't know much. I just know that there are such places. He gritted his teeth. It's a pity that when the snowstorm came, no one thought it would become so serious. Otherwise, I would have passed by now. Looking at Wu Chengaiyu's appearance, Zhang Yi really didn't seem to know any specific information. After all, he has been stuck here for so long. If he had the ability to contact the outside world, he would have sent his powerful Lao Tzu to save him. Wu Chengaiyu was worthless, so Zhang Yi passed him and walked directly in the direction of Yang Xingxin. The other students found that Zhang Yi and the others were not like bad guys, and Uncle Yu and Fatty Zhu surrounded them as if they were grasping at straws. My father is Wang Changming, chairman of Changming Group. If you take me out, my father will give you whatever you want. My father is Li Gang, and my mother is Zhang Qian. You should know what these 2 names mean in Xianhe City. Take me out of here. If you want money, I can give you money. If you want to be an official, I can let my parents run it for you. The students surrounded Uncle Yu and Fatty Zhu tightly, looking at them with weird and crazy eyes. Having lived in desperation for too long, it is rare to see the dawn of life, and they will seize it even if they die. Fatty Zhu and Uncle Yu looked embarrassed. How could they save so many people? Isn't this burdening yourself? But after all, they are not as ruthless as Zhang Yi. Facing the eyes of these young boys and girls eager to live, they can't say 2 decisive words. However, no student dared to go to Zhang Yi. This is not simply because he holds a heavy golden desert eagle in his hand. For some reason, they all felt that Zhang Yi had an air of keeping strangers away. I don't understand. It's like no matter how fierce a dog is, it will be scared when it encounters a professional dog killer. That was the murderer saw on Zhang Yi. Some people say that if a butcher kills too many pigs, dogs, cattle and sheep, the thoughts of those animals before they die will remain on the butcher. And intuitive animals feel this fearful idea and will stay away from this kind of person. Humans are less intuitive than animals. But when the number of people killed reaches a certain amount, this breath will also be noticed. Zhang Yi came to Yang Xingchen step by step. Lu Karen's face was pale, and he wanted to run away instinctively, but he didn't dare to. Yang Xingchen raised her delicate face and looked at Zhang Yi innocently. Zhang Yi walked in front of her, squatted down slowly, looked up at her beautiful eyes across the bangs. You are Yang Xingchen, right? Ah. Yang Xingchen nodded. Zhang Yi smiled softly. My name is Zhang Yi. It was your sister Yang Mi and Zhao Kea who asked me to come and save you. Leave with me, okay? It is good. Yang Xingchen did not hesitate at all and answered simply and crisply. There is no need to doubt anything. The person who is willing to come and rescue you now will definitely not harm you. Zhang Yi nodded. Okay, come with me. Please wait. Yang Xingchen said suddenly. Zhang Yi tilted his head and looked at her curiously. What's the matter? Is there anything else? Can you do me a favor? Yang Xingchen looked at Zhang Yi sincerely. Her eyes were extremely clear. They looked like a pair of precious stones. What's busy? Don't make it too complicated, such as saving your whole class. Zhang Yi said with a smile. Yang Xingchen looked outside. In the ice and snow corridor, the battle was still going on. The sound of ping pong metal crashes makes the heart beat faster, making it hard to feel at ease. Could you please stop them from continuing the fight? I'm afraid he's in danger. Yang Xingchen said. Oh. Zhang Yi also looked towards the corridor, listening to the movement outside. The battle was fierce, and there was no one-sided situation. Is it enough to just stop them? It's not difficult if you're busy. Zhang Yi will need Yang Xingchen to help him maintain the network of the shelter in the future, and now it is convenient for her to win over the relationship in the future by letting her owe him the favor. Yang Xingchen nodded. Zhang Yi smiled, stood up, walked up to Fatty Zhu, and whispered in his ear, come here and do something. Zhang Yi walked over, and the students subconsciously dispersed, not wanting to get too close to him. Only then did Fatty Zhu get relief, and followed Zhang Yi out the door. Chapter 220 Why are you the hope of the country? The three of Zhang Yi came to the corridor, and the battle between Liang Yu and the black monster had entered a fierce stage. Pieces of steel needles were scattered on the ground, all glowing with black light. Zhang Yi picked up two of them with his hands wearing cut-resistant gloves, and put them in his different space. He will study it when he has time to go back. Fat man, do it. Zhang Yi winked at Fatty Zhu. Fatty Zhu got the order to step forward, facing Liang Yu and the black monster with both hands, and activated his own ability. Crack around the corridor of ice and snow. Huge cracks suddenly appeared. Liang Yu's pupils shrank sharply, and she took a few steps back quickly. The next moment, the ice and snow above the head collapsed in a large area, and hundreds of tons of ice and snow fell, completely blocking the corridor. In front of Liang Yu, the black monster disappeared. There is a lot of ice and snow between one person and one monster, and it is impossible to get through. Liang Yu was trembling with anger, turned his head, and glared at Zhang Yi and Fatty Zhu. You guys. Fatty Zhu was so frightened that he quickly hid behind Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi put his right hand on the trigger with a smile on his face, and said to her, you're welcome. We are all human beings, and we should help each other. Liang Yu was shaking with anger. She raised the tang knife in her hand, pointing the tip towards Zhang Yi's face. Do you know what you did? It won't take long for me to decide the winner with that monster. This is my last chance. If I miss this time, it won't fall into the trap next time. For this decisive battle, she bet everything on herself. He burned all his physical energy just to fight to the death. This time, the monster couldn't be killed, and the result would be that she and the students would be killed one by the cunning monster. She hated Zhang Yi so much. Zhang Yi looked innocent. Oh, is that so? I just want to help you, in case you lose to that monster. As he spoke, he pointed to Yang Xingchen in the classroom. If it wasn't for your students to beg me for worrying about you being hurt, I wouldn't bother to do it. Liang Yu gritted her teeth, and the look in her eyes seemed to want to bite Zhang Yi to death. You bastard. She was so angry that she rushed towards Zhang Yi with a knife in her hand. That speed, like flying like lightning, is definitely not inferior to the black monster. Seeing her attack with killing intent, Zhang Yi quickly suppressed his smile. It's not good looking for such a beautiful woman when she's angry. While speaking, he raised the golden sand eagle with both hands. Boom. The huge recoil made Zhang Yi's shoulders tremble. But this bullet with supernatural powers is really powerful. Liang Yu wants to attack Zhang Yi, but Zhang Yi will fight back, no matter what her reasons are. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Yi saw a scene that shocked him. The ghostly Dao Guang danced a fan-shaped afterimage in midair, and with a bang, of bullet holes appeared on the walls on both sides. She actually split the bullet with her bare hands. The top expert of IAIs can split a tennis ball with a speed of 820 km per hour. And Liang Yu, the top martial arts master with the blessing of supernatural powers, can even split bullets. In an instant, Liang Yu had come to Zhang Yi with a knife. A smile appeared on the corner of Zhang Yi's mouth. He's been waiting for this moment. The gate of dimension opened in front of him. Liang Yu sensed a dangerous aura, but she was too fast to dodge in time. Liang Yu disappeared directly into the gate of the dimension. Zhang Yi counted for 2 seconds in his mind, then immediately opened the gate of dimension and let her out again. If you stay in it for a long time, you will really die. This time he made a move which really interfered with Liang Yu's good deeds, and he was a little embarrassed in his heart. In addition, she is Yang Xingxin's teacher, so she can't do this kind of thing in front of Yang Xingxin. But after only staying in the different space for 2 seconds, Liang Yu collapsed on the ground, as if she had collapsed after she came out. Just now, what was that? Liang Yu was panting heavily, her eyes were full of fear. When fighting the monster, she had already consumed most of her power. The lack of food and mental exhaustion in the past few days made her unable to hold on any longer, and collapsed on the ground. Zhang Yi spread his hands. I kindly wanted to help you, but you drew your sword at me? Hey, what an incomprehensible woman. As he spoke, he walked up to Liang Yu, snatched her very beautiful tang knife, and held it in his hand. In order to prevent you from getting angry casually, let me keep such a dangerous thing for you. Zhang Yi said with a smile. This knife can actually split bullets. It is obviously a top quality weapon, so of course you have to keep it for yourself. Liang Yu stared at him angrily, as if she wanted to eat people. You, give Longming back to me. Liang Yu was almost overwhelmed by the fact that the precious sword that he thought was more precious than life was snatched away like this. Okay, don't be angry, you will hurt yourself if you get too angry. Well, come, here are 2 students, help your teacher to rest. Only then did the students next to him dare to come over and helped Liang Yu aside. Liang Yu sat leaning against the wall. Her body was so weak that she might struggle to even stand up. She could only stare at Zhang Yi and speak cruel words in a non-threatening tone. Who are you guys? What is the purpose of coming here? Zhang Yi looked at Yang Xingxin and said, I was entrusted by her family to come and take her away. Leave. There was hope in the eyes of Liang Yu and other students. Then can you take us with you? It's too dangerous here. Have you seen that monster? It has already eaten hundreds of people in our school. Please, take us away too. My father will definitely repay you in the future, as much as you want. My father is the director of 20th. My father is still the director of 20th. Zhang Yi was a little impatient, and he said in a cold tone, I just came to take her away alone. For other people, you should find a solution with your own family. Seeing that Zhang Yi was unwilling to take them away, everyone became anxious. We can't contact our family. Can you help us? We will thank you very much in the future, and we won't let you work in vain. Liang Yu looked at Zhang Yi and the 3 of them, and she already realized that these 3 people were extraordinary. He is not a stranger, but also a character with extremely strong fighting power. Otherwise he would not have the strength and courage to come to Shine King Academy to save people. She said to Zhang Yi, looking at your condition, your life must be very good. You should have a good place to live and enough food, right? Can you do me a favor and save these children? They are the hope of the motherland's future. A group of students also looked at Zhang Yi expectantly. But Zhang Yi just wanted to laugh after hearing what they said. The hope of the motherland? Could it be that the children of you high-ranking officials and the rich are hope, and the children of ordinary people are not hope? I don't see anything worthy of superiority in you. Your arrogance? Zhang Yi sneered and shook his head. Since you are so good, you must be able to survive on your own. Sorry, I'm just a child of an ordinary family, and I cannot save you elites. Chapter 221. You are useless. Are you kidding? 50 people asked Zhang Yi to save them. Zhang Yi didn't bother to rescue 4 or 5 people. These people were born with a golden spoon in their mouths, and they lived more wonderfully in the past 20 years than many people did in 65 years. If anyone rescues this group of young masters and princesses, it will be tantamount to causing trouble for themselves. I'm just here to take Yang Xingxin away. Forget about the others. As Zhang Yi said, he planned to take Yang Xingxin away. But how smart are the children of these officials and wealthy businessmen? Some of them have already discovered that Zhang Yi does not intend to take them away. So a few students approached Yang Xingxin quietly and held her hostage. You have to take us all away. Otherwise, we'll strangle her, Zhang Mengming said with a ferocious face. Luke Karen didn't expect his classmates to do that. He wanted to rescue Yang Xingxin, but he was directly pushed to the ground by a tall boy. No. You are all classmates. You can't act like this. Liang Yu stopped weakly. But how can anyone listen to her now? In the eyes of these students, her so-called teacher is nothing more than a senior bodyguard. At the critical moment of life and death, they choose to be more selfish. Several students controlled Yang Xingxin. Zhang Mengming stared at Zhang Yi viciously and said, if you don't take us with you, then everyone don't leave. Zhang Yi sneered. Regardless of Yang Xingxin, he looked at Fatty Zhu and Uncle Yu and said, tell me, why are there so many self-righteous people in this world? The moment he pretended to turn his head casually, his hands had been replaced with police pistols that were easier to control. Bang, 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 bang. 4 shots in a row. Zhang Yi shot directly without hesitation. The 4 students next to Yang Xingxin all had blood holes on their foreheads. They stared at the front in astonishment, and the next moment their consciousness completely dissipated. Thump. The 4 corpses fell to the ground, dying with grievances. Murder. What? The students around all dispersed with a crash, and avoided Zhang Yi like a wild beast, all looking at him with deep fear in their eyes. Liang Yu's eyes widened angrily, and pointed at Zhang Yi. You actually killed these children. Zhang Yi sneered and said, every one of them looks pretty big. They even know how to threaten others with their classmates' lives. Do you call this a child? Regardless of their moral kidnapping, Zhang Yi walked up to Yang Xingxin with a gun in his hand. Seeing those dead people on the ground, Yang Xingxin's face didn't have much fluctuation. As long as your brain is still working, you won't have too many psychological shadows after taking it back for a while. Over there, Liang Yu was still scolding Zhang Yi for his cold-bloodedness and begged him to take these students away. Zhang Yi didn't even bother to talk to her. Let's go, I'll take you home. He held out his hand to Yang Xingxin. For the first time, Yang Xingxin's water blue eyes fluctuated. Ah. She nodded and passed her hand over. Well, can you bring my friend? She begged. Friend? Zhang Yi looked at Luke Karen, who was not far away from Yang Xingxin, with a troubled expression on his face. After seeing Zhang Yi's method of killing people, Luke Karen didn't dare to get close, but in her eyes, it was clear that she longed for Zhang Yi to take her away. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. One who eats rice? He doesn't seem to need it very much. Yang Xingxin said, she, like me, is a special admission student of Shanking College. What do you mean by special admission? Zhang Yi asked with a smile. Yang Xingxin explained, there are only 2 types of students here. One is the children of high-ranking officials and dignitaries, and the other is geniuses who are specially admitted in order to gain fame for the school. The latter needs to participate in various domestic and foreign competitions all year round, and then win awards to increase the popularity of the school. Kanran is a mechanical genius, not inferior to Call Tech's Master of Engineering in this field. She touched the wheelchair under her body. This wheelchair is tailor-made for me. It has been used for so long without any problems. Yang Xingxin tried her best to sell her friend to Zhang Yi. Hearing this, Zhang Yi couldn't help but take another look at Lu Karen. This girl with short hair looks very good. Only with good physical ability can one be a qualified mechanic. Zhang Yi asked, "What will you do?" Lu Karen's eyes lit up, knowing that her chance had come. She said quickly, "I'm very good at vehicle design and maintenance, and I have also studied firearms. If you take me back, I can modify cars and firearms for you. Also, I'll learn the technique of forging knives out of interest. If the conditions are right, it is also possible to forge cold weapons for you." Zhang Yi admitted that the girl had successfully persuaded him. Now he needs a genius in this area. Zhang Yi clapped his hands. "Okay, then you come with me." Lu Karen and Yang Xingxin looked at each other, their eyes filled with uncontrollable excitement. "Thank you. What's your name?" Zhang Yi smiled lightly. "My name is Zhang Yi. Just call me brother according to your age." "Yes, brother Zhang Yi." Lu Karen smiled happily. Zhang Yi asked Lu Karen to push Yang Xingxin's wheelchair, ready to leave here. The rest of the students were about to cry. "Mr. Zhang, I'm also useful. I can drive, and my driving skills are great. I can speak 8 foreign languages, and I can act as an interpreter for you. I'm proficient in literature, and can recite A Dream of Red Mansions backwards." There are indeed a lot of geniuses in the crowd. After all, they have received elite education since childhood. Even Liang Yu, a martial arts master at the national martial arts level, was called to be their martial arts teacher. One can imagine how rich educational resources they enjoyed. However, most of the things they mastered are useless in the last days. Because they want to start from Z, most people spend their minds in the fields of literature, history, philosophy, and finance. The practicability is not high, so it naturally does not arouse Zhang Yi's interest. "If you just leave like this, all of us will die." Among the crowd, a girl with long curly hair came out more and more, and bravely looked at Zhang Yi. Shen Maok is the youth league secretary in the class. "Now teacher Liang is very weak, and you let that monster go away again. Once you leave, what if it comes back to kill us?" Thinking of that terrible monster, every student's heart was covered with thick clouds. If you hadn't intervened, that monster might have been beheaded by Mr. Liang. "Are you planning to just leave like this? Even if you have to leave, at least help us solve that trouble." Although the students were afraid of Zhang Yi's gun, they were unwilling to just wait to die. Zhang Yi was indifferent. He spread his hands. "It's as if we don't come, you will definitely survive." Chapter 222. The students were reluctant to accept the reality and wanted to argue for it. But Zhang Yi shook the gun in his hand, and their mouths suddenly became more honest. A group of people could only watch Lu Karen and Yang Xingxin leave with Zhang Yi with envious eyes. "They looked at me, and I looked at you." Their eyes were full of ferocity, but they suffered from insufficient strength and couldn't do anything. When Yang Xingxin and Lu Karen passed by Liang Yu, they bowed their heads to thank her. "Mr. Liang, thank you for your care during this time." Although the students are beasts, Liang Yu is indeed a responsible teacher and takes good care of them. However, Yang Xingxin knew that it was impossible for Liang Yu to leave the others and leave with them. So she didn't ask Liang Yu to leave with her. Liang Yu was so tired that she didn't even want to say anything, but just nodded lightly. Yang Xingxin and Lu Karen didn't say anything else and left with Zhang Yi and the others. After they walked a certain distance, Liang Yu, who was relieved, stood up with difficulty. "Follow them. I'm seriously injured now, and the monster is not much better. While it is afraid to come out now, let's follow them. At least we can find a way out of here." A group of students suddenly realized that yes, they want to live, and this is the only way. So 2 girls came over and supported Liang Yu, and a group of people walked out behind Zhang Yi and the others. It wasn't that they hadn't considered leaving before, but the caves in the snow stretched in all directions, and they were all drilled out by that monster. They couldn't figure out which way was out of the way below. With Zhang Yi and a few people leading the way, they are not afraid of getting lost. Fatty Zhu found that these people were following behind him and asked Zhang Yi in a low voice, "All those people have followed, what should we do?" Zhang Yi smiled and said, "Why, you pity them? That's not it. Then you want to kill them all? With your strength, you can bury them alive, as long as you collapse here." Fatty Zhu was taken aback. "No, I didn't mean that. They have no enmity with me. Zhang Yi shrugged. If this is the case, then leave them alone. If you are rich, you will benefit the world, but if you are poor, you will be alone. We don't have that much ability to support dozens of people. Fatty Zhu felt that what Zhang Yi said made sense, so he followed Zhang Yi forward. When they came, the marks made by Zhang Yi came in handy. They followed the marks on the wall and returned to the snow. Zhang Yi didn't want to delay here, so he immediately took out 2 snowmobiles. He said to Fatty Zhu, "Go and sit with Uncle Yu." Fatty Zhu made a bitter face. "Motorcycle. It's too cold." Zhang Yi took out a helmet and put it on his head. "Isn't that alright?" "Oh, it feels so good. Haha, I really want to go for a ride too." Fatty Zhu ran over and got on Uncle Yu's co-pilot. Zhang Yi turned on the co-pilot, carried Yang Xingxin onto it, and put away her wheelchair along the way. As for Lu Karen, he sat in the back very sensibly. Let's go back." Zhang Yi honked the horn and then reminded Uncle Yu to set off together. The snowmobile started and quickly left the Shine King Academy. Not long after, Liang Yu and others also climbed up from the snow path. They still had some thoughts about Zhang Yi, to see if they could go back with him. Even stalking is fine, as long as you can survive. But I didn't expect that when I came out, I could only see the exhaust from their car. A group of people were suddenly dumbfounded. "Where shall we go next?" a girl asked with a blank face. Although it came up from the ground, when I looked up, it was surrounded by white snow. At least there is a place to live and something to eat when you are down below. What now? Nothing. Wu Chenggai came out, turned on his mobile phone with a smile. "Let's watch mine next. There will be a signal when they get outside." He wants to contact his powerful Lao Tzu and send someone to pick them up to the Zishan base. On the way back, Yang Xingxin and Lu Karen sat in the warm car, with expressions of comfort gradually appearing on their faces. Trapped under the snow for more than a month, and being attacked by monsters frequently, Lu Karen has long been exhausted. Seeing their disheveled looks, Zhang Yi smiled, and with his right hand covered 2 bottles of mineral water, a few chocolate bars and bread appeared in front of them. "Eat something to replenish energy. Be careful not to eat too fast, and be careful not to get gastroenteritis. If you get sick at this time, it will be painful." Tears flowed from Lu Karen's excited eyes. "Brother, you are such a good person. Thank you." Her personality is a bit carefree, like a tomboy, but this kind of personality feels good and is easy to get along with. Yang Xingxin looked a little weak, obviously very hungry, but thanked Zhang Yi politely and then began to eat. Zhang Yi glanced at the rearview mirror, and the smile on the corner of his mouth grew wider. Zhang Yi didn't talk to them until the 2 of them had finished eating and rested happily on their seats. "Xingxin, you are really amazing." Zhang Yi opened his mouth to praise. Yang Xingxin's expression was a little strange. "Brother, are you talking about me? How can I have it?" She smiled slightly, like a crabapple flower waiting to bloom. "I have always been a burden among everyone. If it wasn't for Karen to protect me all the time, I'm afraid I would have died a long time ago." Lu Karen smiled and said, "We are good sisters. Why are you being polite to me?" Zhang Yi smiled faintly, non-committal to Yang Xingxin's words. "Is that so? But I think you are better." "Huh? Brother, why do you say that?" Yang Xingxin's face was full of curiosity. Lu Karen also poked his head over, not understanding why Zhang Yi said that. Zhang Yi calmly explained, "You suffered from polio since you were a child, and you can't move your legs, so you can only sit in a wheelchair. But under the threat of that monster, you can survive until now. Isn't it powerful enough?" Without waiting for Yang Xingxin to explain, Zhang Yi continued, "You may want to say that you are lucky, or you have the protection of the girl behind. But in more than a month, that monster attacked at least a dozen times, right? Once is luck, twice is luck, 3 times or 5 times is a bit weird. And it's definitely not a coincidence that you've survived until now, I think." Zhang Yi smiled and glanced at Yang Xingxin next to him. "I'm right." The pure smile on Yang Xingxin's pure face slowly disappeared. "Brother, you are really smart. No wonder you can live to this day, and you can still support those 2 stupid sisters." The smile on Yang Xingxin's face became a little sick, and her temperament changed instantly, as if she was a different person. Lu Karen's eyes widened. "What are you guys talking about?" Zhang Yi smiled. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that from an outsider's point of view, there are too many coincidences. Especially just now, when your teacher was fighting monsters, what you told me was stop their fight. If what you want to protect is your teacher, you should let me help her kill that monster. But you didn't do that, which means that what you want to protect is not your teacher, but that monster. So, based on the above two guesses, you have been keeping that monster all along, am I right? Chapter 223. The target is you, brother. After listening to Zhang Yi's words, Yang Xingxin's mouth curled into a meaningful smile. Brother, you are really smart. You have guessed 2% of the matter. However, they are not as bad as you imagined. Yang Xingxin brushed her hair back, revealing her fair and slender neck. I'm not the owner of Huahe. I didn't let it kill my classmates and teachers. It's just that it has been protecting me all the time. When Lu Karen heard Yang Xingxin calling the monster Huahe, his eyes widened in surprise. Huahe? Is it the stray cat you've been feeding? Zhang Yi quietly waited for Yang Xingxin to give him an explanation. He was also very interested in that mutated cat. Because when he came to the upper level of Shine King Academy, there was no way to quickly determine Yang Xingxin's location. And the appearance of that monster seemed to be deliberately leading Zhang Yi. If it hadn't been provoked by Fatty Zoo's active attack, it would have no intention of attacking Zhang Yi. Such a smart and powerful mutant, if it can be subdued, it would be perfect. After all, animals are much more loyal than humans. Yang Xingxin looked into the distance and explained the reason behind Lu Karen's astonished eyes. It turned out that the monster was mutated from a stray cat. Due to polio, Yang Xingxin cannot move freely. So she spends most of her time in the dormitory. As for her homework, she is the world's top computer genius, and the teachers at Shine King Academy have nothing to teach her. Apart from the computer, her only hobby is going to the back of the dormitory building to feed a stray cat named Huahe. It's because of the relationship I developed during that time that I have a particularly close relationship with Huahe. That's why it never attacked me. Yang Xingxin calmly explained the relationship between them. Lu Karen let out a long breath. No wonder. Although it would scare me every time it came, it never attacked us. I thought we were lucky. Zhang Yi did not accept Yang Xingxin's explanation. I'm afraid it's not as simple as you said, is it? Is it as simple as not attacking you out of sheer gratitude? He glanced at Yang Xingxin and said playfully, then it went to lead us the way and didn't attack us. Is it because of instinct? Yang Xingxin said with a smile. Brother, your observation skills are really careful. Sure enough, you can't hide anything from you. That's right. After Huahe mutated, she was extremely smart and could understand what I said. Actually, I told it that someone will come to pick me up and leave so that it will not hurt you. It's just that I didn't expect that you guys are so powerful. Zhang Yi glanced at her. Then, are you the one who let it kill those classmates? Not at all. Yang Xingxin said with a smile. Although there are many annoying guys among them, I haven't hated them enough to kill them. In the beginning, they would die simply because some people had abused Huahe in the past, and Huahe needed to eat. Having said that, her gaze slowly became cloudy. But then things changed. Brother, you don't know how many times some people think I'm a burden and want to leave me to stop Huahe. They even deliberately overturn my wheelchair or push me out. Yang Xingxin's smile gradually became louder. I laughed so hard, how would they know that Huahe won't hurt me? So I survived every time, and the hatred for me in their hearts became deeper. Because they tried to murder me, as long as I'm alive, they are going to be very disturbed and realize how evil I am. Because of this, they couldn't wait to kill me. Lu Karen also fell silent when he heard this. She knew best how many accidents she and Yang Xingxin had during that time. It's just that she is weak alone, and she has no way to resist. As for the teacher Liang Yu, she has worked hard to protect everyone. But her strength alone is limited after all, and it is impossible to take care of every student. So it is. Many times I thought we were dead. Lu Karen's voice was a little low. Yang Xingxin stroked the bottle in her hand, like petting a cat. So, later on, I felt that it would be better for these people to die. She looked up at Zhang Yi. Her face was full of sunshine. So brother, later on Huahe teased them again and again, and killed them bit by bit. It really has something to do with me. Do you think Xingxin is cruel? Zhang Yi looked at her for a few seconds, and a smile suddenly appeared on the corner of his mouth. Cruel. Indeed, there is a point. But instead of disgusting him, he felt a little appreciation. This girl is like me. They don't know me well. It's your freedom to do whatever you want. I don't care. I came to save you, only because of my promise to your sister and the need to use your computer expert ability. Yang Xingxin nodded, not surprised at all. What I'm saying is that in this kind of world, if there is no value, it is impossible to be saved. Zhang Yi said, don't worry, if you join my team in the future, as long as you are obedient and work hard, you will no longer face the danger of cold, hunger and death. I can assure you of this. Bao's newly recruited a few excellent employees. Of course they had to make a big deal first to stabilize their hearts. But what Zhang Yi said was basically the truth. Unless there is an accident in the future, they must be very comfortable following him. Thank you, brother. Lu Karen said. Thank you, brother. Yang Xingxin said with a smile. Zhang Yi glanced at the rearview mirror and then continued to ask, Xingxin, I still have a question. I hope you can help me answer it. Brother, please. It's been so long since the end of the world. Why didn't you send a message to your two sisters before? Why did you do it recently? And in such a deep place under heavy snow? How did you solve the signal problem? Yang Xingxin covered her mouth and gave a putchy smile. Brother, I'm a top hacker in the world anyway, so the signal problem is easy to solve. What's more, there is Huahe helping me. As for sending messages to contact you, she opened her eyes, revealing a sly light. I have no intention of contacting my stupid sister. From the beginning, my goal is you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. Both of them are talents. The wind and snow continued. The snowflakes were much smaller than a month ago, but the wind was very strong. The snowmobile drove towards Young Manor. It was cold outside, but warm and pleasant inside. Zhang Yi's face did not change, but his eyes changed slightly. Your target is me. How do you say this? I haven't had any contact with you before. Yang Xingxin explained in a gentle tone. I thought that idiot's sister was dead. After all, with her IQ and ability, it's okay to mix in the entertainment industry. Saving people. It's good if she can protect herself. So I won't pin my hope of living on her. Zhang Yi. Then, my mobile phone received a message from the outside world. She took out her mobile phone from among her clothes. It was a mobile phone that Zhang Yi had never seen before. He didn't know the brand, let alone the model. From the looks of it, this must be a custom-made product. No wonder it has such a strong signal receiving ability. Its performance is not inferior to ordinary supercomputers. With a little analysis, you can find all the information about you, brother. She tilted her head and looked at Zhang Yi's handsome and resolute profile. Xingxin really admires you, brother. Even though he is just an ordinary warehouse manager, he is able to do this in the apocalypse. Zhang Yi's back felt a little cold. Damn it, in the modern age with highly developed information technology, it is not easy for a top hacker to get your information. What do you know about me? Zhang Yi asked uncomfortably. Well, almost everything. Yang Xingxin said confidently, as long as it can be found on the internet, I can find it with my fingers. Including your previous involvement in the theft of Walmart's South China warehouse, including your bank card transfer records, and the fact that you killed so many neighbors in Yulu community. She suddenly covered her face with her hands. Her little face was flushed, and her eyes were full of obsession. After reading your story, Xingxin is really fascinated. Zhang Yi, this is a sick girl. Being stared at by a beautiful, strong, and miserable sick girl makes people feel chills down their backs, and they don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Zhang Yi took a breath, and then said, so you know that I live with Yang Mi and Zhao Keller. You just use them to contact me, is that right? Yang Xingxin nodded. Well, that's it. Although I don't know if you will come to rescue Xingxin, brother, but if you don't come, Xingxin will definitely go to you. But you really came to rescue Xingxin. Xingxin is so happy. she said, stretched out her hand gently, grabbed Zhang Yi's clothes corner, and then blushed with shame. Zhang Yi was speechless. He thought everything was under his control, but he didn't expect to fall into someone else's design. This beautiful and miserable little girl is so scheming. Such people must be kept, and it is better to be a teammate than an enemy. That, Xingxin. I want to ask a question. You have such a good relationship with that demon cat. Will it obey your orders completely? Hearing this, Yang Xingxin put a green finger in front of her lips and thought for a while, then shook her head. Brother, haven't you ever raised a cat? A cat is an animal that can only be a friend. It will get close to whoever treats it well, but it is too difficult to be its master, especially stray cats. Zhang Yi rubbed his head helplessly. That's it, then it's a little difficult. He had hoped to accept a useful combat power. He looked back through the rearview mirror. In the vast snow, it seemed that something followed. He didn't see it, but his intuition told it that it must be the powerful cat demon. Is it still reluctant to part with Yang Xingxin? Zhang Yi muttered to himself. The temperament of a cat is the most elusive of creatures. Regardless of the domesticated pet cats, the wild cats that have been wandering outside, or the domestic cats in the countryside all retain their wildness. It does not trust humans easily at all, and is extremely difficult to tame. You can give it a try. There are still a lot of cat food, dried fish and cat strips in the warehouse. These foods are better than people, right? Hey, I haven't eaten it either, so I really can't make a comparison. Anyway, let's give it a try. The group returned to Young Manor. In order to thank Fatty Wang, Zhang Yi gave him another package of food and a limited edition deer eye round incense pillow. Fatty Wang was elated, and immediately embraced the pillow, and refused to let go. As for Uncle Yu, Zhang Yi took out 2 barrels of refined oil for him to take back. Uncle Yu didn't refuse either. His abilities were not as convenient as Zhang Yi's to obtain supplies. Gasoline was indeed what he needed. It's the 2 of you who have worked hard today, Zhang Yi said with a smile. Uncle Yu and Fatty Zhu left with a smile, and said that they can contact them at any time, if necessary in the future. This task was relatively easy for them, without much danger, and Zhang Yi gave them generous rewards, so they were very happy. Zhang Yi is like this. He will never be stingy when it comes to his own people. See you later. Several people parted ways. Zhang Yi brought Yang Xingxin and Lu Karen back to the shelter. The 2 girls had been starving and freezing in Shine King Academy for more than a month, and when they came to this warm and luxurious shelter, excitement flashed in their eyes. Even Yang Xingxin couldn't help but look around. Oh my god, this is simply a paradise in my dreams. I can't imagine that there is such a happy place in the last days. Lu Karen burst into tears of excitement. This tomboy who has always been strong, rarely wiped away his tears while weeping. Zhang Yi said to them, as long as you help me well in the future, and ensure the safety of this place, you can live happily here forever. Lu Karen nodded repeatedly, pointed to the ceiling and swore, brother, Lu Karen, will follow you wholeheartedly in the future. Yang Xingxin lowered her head shyly, grabbed the corners of her clothes with both hands and said, if you help me, does it include life? Zhang Yilu was speechless. Lu Karen was a little nervous, and didn't understand the meaning of Yang Xingxin's words. Zhang Yi bent down in front of her, reached out and patted her cold little face. You are young, but you know a lot. But for me, your main task is to help me, and maintain the safety of the entire shelter. Do you understand? Although Yang Xingxin looks beautiful, for Zhang Yi, her biggest role is that of a top computer expert. Zhang Yi wouldn't be able to fantasize when he saw a beautiful girl. After listening to Zhang Yi's words, the trace of vigilance in Yang Xingxin's eyes disappeared, but she felt a little disappointed for some reason. Her eyes fell on her legs, and she thought to herself, does he dislike me? Women are elusive creatures. If Zhang Yi hits her, she will be wary of Zhang Yi, but Zhang Yi doesn't hit her, and she feels that Zhang Yi dislikes her disabled legs. Chapter 225 Mechanical Expert. Soon, Zhang Yi brought Yang Mi and Zhao Ke to the living room. After they saw Yang Xingxin who was safe and sound, their faces were full of joy, and their eyes filled with tears. Xingxin, great, you're still alive. Do you know how worried my sister is about you? Yang Mi squatted in front of Yang Xingxin with a flattering smile on her face. Really, why didn't you contact me earlier? You must have suffered a lot outside. But Yang Xingxin didn't have much good looks when facing her celebrity cousin. She snorted lightly and said coldly, "My dirty sister. You are just taking advantage of men's fantasies about you to become famous. Apart from relying on your own body, what other abilities do you have? If it wasn't because I found out that you were with brother Zhang Yi, I wouldn't have contacted you." Yang Mi's face suddenly became a little embarrassed. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows slightly. It seemed that the relationship between the cousins was not very harmonious. But it's not surprising, as Zhao Ken said before, Yang Mi, the national goddess, the object of sexual fantasy in countless men's hearts, must be an insult to the Yang family. It's normal for Yang Xingxin, a computer genius with a super high IQ, to look down on her brother Zhang Yi. Zhao Ken was a little concerned about Yang Xingxin's title. Since when did Xingxin become so polite to others? In her impression, it was difficult for Yang Xingxin to recognize someone because she was extremely smart. Several people introduced each other. Lu Karen reported her family background. Although she is not a lady from a great family, her parents are also tutors in the university, belonging to a scholarly family. Zhang Yi clapped his hands and arranged for Yang Mi and Zhao Ke to do something. "Mimi, go and cook a good meal to welcome Xingxin and Kanran. Ke, go and tidy up their room." Zhao Ke smiled and said, yes, I have vacated Xingxin's room before, so I should prepare another room." Yang Mi also came to the island kitchen in the living room and started busy with today's dinner. As for Lu Karen and Yang Xingxin, they had just returned. Zhang Yi was not in a hurry to let them go to work. He asked the two of them to take a bath first. After all, under the snow layer of Azure Academy, there was no condition for taking a bath at all. Lu Karen pushed Yang Xingxin to the bathroom. According to their size requirements, Zhang Yi prepared several sets of clothes for them and asked them to choose what to wear. But when they were taking a bath, Yang Mi in the kitchen stared straight at Zhang Yi. The kitchen knife in his hand moved a little slower. Zhang Yi was speechless. "It's been so long. Do you still remember?" Yang Mi pouted. "It's fine if you do that to me, but they are all inexperienced students. You are not allowed to do that." Zhang Yi smiled lightly. He hadn't thought of that either. How to say, the reason why he was unscrupulous towards Yang Mi back then was because he knew very well that Yang Mi came here with him to exchange her body for the conditions of survival. But Lu Karen is different from Yang Xingxin. They are all technical talents, and Zhang Yi will be of great use in the future. Zhang Yi is not a pervert who is hungry. Having Zhao Ke and Yang Mi is enough to comfort his daily needs. As for these two girls, let them feel at ease to help themselves prepare for the shelter. But after being together for a long time, there is nothing he can do. If the lonely man and multiple women have feelings. The two girls washed in the bathroom for a long time. They were all girls from good backgrounds, and it was unbearable for them not to take a bath for such a long time. So after having a comfortable environment and hot water, I immediately washed my whole body carefully many times. Then the two girls came out of the bathroom wearing the clothes prepared for them. After the two girls took a bath, they looked at Zhang Yi more and more closely. After all, this is their savior. Not only saved their lives, but also allowed them to live in such a comfortable house. This kind of kindness will last forever. The slogan loyalty has already sounded in Lu Karen's heart. "Brother, we are done washing," Lu Karen said to Zhang Yi with a smile. "This tomboy is careless, with clear eyes like a silly roe deer. Well, come and sit for a while." Zhang Yi smiled and waved at them. Zhang Yi asked them to sit on the sofa, drink some hot drinks to recharge their energy, and then speak slowly. "There is a coffee machine and coffee beans in the house." Yang Mi poured Yang Xingxin a cup of cappuccino, while Lu Karen drank American style. Zhang Yi raised Erlang's legs and chatted with them casually. "Xingxin, you will be responsible for the future network security at home. Is this okay?" It can be said that Zhang Yi knows nothing about computers, and he is only a little bit better than Yang Mi and Zhao Ke. But if he really meets a computer expert, he can be turned into scum in seconds. No, he would not have all his identity information stolen by Lu Fengde before. Yang Xingxin nodded and said in a calm but extremely confident tone, "Leave it to me." Zhang Yi looked at Lu Karen again. Lu Karen quickly sat up straight and put his hands on his knees. "Brother, what are your orders?" Zhang Yi said, "You are a master in the mechanical field. I would like to ask, if you were asked to make weapons and ammunition, would you know it?" Zhang Yi smiled and looked at Luke Karen, like a gentle big brother next door. Luke Karen was wearing slippers, and when he met Zhang Yi's gentle gaze, his feet couldn't help shrinking. She looked away shyly, scratched her cheek and said, "Actually, firearms are not difficult to manufacture. But it requires some professional mechanical equipment. And in terms of ammunition, the materials needed are not available in the market. It would be much easier if it was a cold weapon. The materials can also be obtained from other metals in the house. But you also need forging tools." Zhang Yi smiled lightly. "It's not difficult." He stood up suddenly and said to Luke Karen, "Come with me and show you a few things." Luke Karen followed curiously. Zhang Yi took her down to the basement floor and then came to an empty room. Zhang Yi opened the different space and took out some machinery and equipment of the steel company that he had picked up from the warehouse area. Although he is not familiar with things like CNC machine tools, he also knows what those things are used for. Zhang Yi asked, "Look, are these things useful? If not enough, I still have them here. If it doesn't work, I'll go out and search a few steel factories and get back the equipment you need." When Luke Karen saw a large pile of cutting-edge mechanical equipment in front of him, his eyes lit up. The cost of these equipment is extremely high, many of which are imported, and the price of one set is at least several million, and there are even tens of millions of high-end products. "No problem, these things are enough," Luke Karen said excitedly. "Although some equipment is useless, I can disassemble the parts and modify them." As a genius in the mechanical field, her hands-on ability is superb. Zhang Yi nodded upon hearing this and gave her some tools. "You try to organize the equipment first, and then you help me build what equipment I need later. As for the material of the ammunition, it is relatively simpler. There are chemical materials in his different space, and gunpowder and the like are more difficult for this genius in the mechanical field." Zhang Yi has no shortage of large firearms. But what he lacked were bullets and a silencer, especially his big sniper, which was too loud and made too much noise every time he fired, which was not conducive to the Yin people. Luke Karen raised his arm, patted the white and well-proportioned muscles on his arm. "Don't worry, brother. Leave these things to me." Zhang Yi looked at the passionate girl in front of him, and his heart blossomed with joy. I thought it was buy one get one free, but I didn't expect to give him a big surprise. "By the way, since you are a mechanical engineer, you must know a lot about materials, right? Show me this thing." Zhang Yi took out the Tangdao snatched from Liang Yu from the different space and handed it to Luke Karen. "Is it some ancient magic weapon? When I took it away, your teacher's eyes seemed to be trying to kill me." Luke Karen is very familiar with this knife. She took it in her hand, pulled it out with fiery eyes, and took a look. Only half of the blade was exposed, and there was a cold light flashing, and there was a clear and crisp sound of the blade. "This is Teacher Liang's precious sword. I can finally touch it with my own hands." Luke Karen looked at it several times with fiery eyes, as if admiring a rare treasure. After a long time, he reluctantly put the knife back into its scabbard and returned it to Zhang Yi. She said to Zhang Yi, "This sword is called looming, and it was forged by Yuan Lin, the most powerful swordsmith in Huaguo. This is not an ancient handicraft, but the pinnacle of serious modern cold weapons. The metal used is called Edmond alloy, which is said to be the hardest metal in the world, and can even split diamonds." Zhang Yi couldn't help but said, "Is it so cute?" Luke Karen nodded. "That's right. This metal was only developed 10 years ago, and it was originally intended to be used in military weaponry. However, due to the high manufacturing cost and extremely scarce materials, it was eliminated by the arms company Gone. But some people apply it to cold weapons, and get this indestructible sword." Luke Karen pointed to the one in Zhang Yi's hand. "This one is called Looming. It is said that Teacher Liang saved the life of that lady in Huaguo when she was working as a bodyguard. Then she was rewarded. For Mr. Liang, it symbolizes the supreme honor. So it has always been regarded as more important than life." Looking at Looming in his hand, Zhang Yi's eyes became hot. No wonder Liang Yu was able to slash against the cat demon relying on it. Ordinary swords and swords are probably already rolled up. "Good stuff. I'll take it for you, Mr. Liang." Such a good thing. It is better to keep it for self-defense than the previous Damascus steel hunting knife point. Of course Zhang Yi couldn't return it. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.